Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你好中国，你叫希腊，我爱更尊重中。Shield up. There's nothing sacred.
Oh, wait a Alton, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us.
And Hispanic people, too.
Glove gold! Glove gold! Glove gold!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I'll help you. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is homophobic. And you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for my favorite night of the week, guys, because it is time for Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster, and I am thrilled to welcome you guys back to another bona fide week of just pop culture bonanza. I was trying to find another P word. A pop culture party with all of your Tooney Town pals, and maybe a special guest as well. We'll have to see. I don't know, guys. We don't know what's going to happen, but I can't do this alone. I need the greatest team assembled in the world of pop culture podcasts. I need the Tooney Town Titans.
Titans, go!
Kevin Apollo, my friend. We are back, brother, and we are back, and we are raring to go. It's going to be a big week.
Nice. We got special guests. We got lots of stuff to talk about. It's packed, brother.
I am still reeling from Ironheart. Like, I am just so about it. Like, it really took the wind out. I was already feeling crappy. Like, I was already feeling sick from the weekend, and just watching those last 3 episodes, my God. I mean, it was just really, 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 really bad. What up, T?
It was really, really bad. Here's Trish.
You know what? We needed you on here to just pick our spirits up a bit because Ironheart was so bad. But
Watch
Trish,
do a horrible job. I'm all right.
You never do a horrible job, Trish. How are you doing this week?
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the most thrilling person, but nothing's wrong. Can't complain.
It's just that kind of a week as we head into Independence Day.
Most of my weeks are like that, to be fair.
Yeah. Any big 4th of July plans?
I love the 4th of July, though. Which is in general, I love the 4th of July.
I mean, I'm in a new neighborhood this year, so it's always interesting to have the 4th of July for the first time in a new neighborhood because you learn which of your neighbors are pyromaniacs who are trying to blast their house off into space.
I will absolutely hear fireworks going off.
Yes. But you know who's just a living firework? Nolan Thunder, my good friend.
Hi friends, good to see you. I gotta say, everyone's looking kind of about as depressed as America was during Independence Day before the White House blew up, you know? It was not a good time for the country.
So, Nolan, how was your theme park excursion last week? We missed you last week because you were off traveling.
Yeah, no, I definitely missed all of you guys. I can definitely say that. I was like the one day of the week it had to be, but it was actually a really divine time. I got to ride the new coaster twice for a private event at Cedar Point. The new ride was called Siren's Curse. I even got to shake hands with the dude at the manufacturer that produced the ride, so that was a very big experience for me. But yeah, no, it definitely got stories to tell, and hopefully I can get some information out on it in the coming future.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Lorne!
Hello.
Sorry. Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Lord.
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing fine. You can tell Nolan doesn't have a Mac because hearts didn't just shoot out of his hands, as I learned is a thing that happens when you have a Mac.
That was awesome last night, by the way.
It was insane. When all of a sudden I just started doing things and things just started happening. It was absolutely ridiculous. So guys, not sure if Martin is joining us today, but we do have a special guest this week. Not his first time here on Tooney Talk TV. And matter of fact, he was on either the first or second episode. I believe it was the first, but he's also featured in our opening because he was there for some of the clips that we used. What are you doing?
Okay. I want the stupid hearts.
Are you on a Mac?
I'm on a Mac.
That make
you have
the
my heart,
heart
Kevin.
symbol with do like what Nolan did.
What?
Do the Taylor Swift. Do the Taylor Swift.
Hold up. Apparently, your Mac doesn't do it. Hold up 2 thumbs up.
Sucks, dude.
Telling Kevin to do a Taylor Swift anything, I don't think is going to work.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. All right, guys. So our special guest, you might know him from his hit wrestling channel, Pro Wrestle Times, but you also might know him from his new channel, Phil Marks Out. He is...
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Phil Marks!
Heyo. Hey, happy Canada Day, buddies. Okay, that was a few days ago. And I'm quite peachy keen, chipper, and maple syrupy and all that good sugary stuff. How you guys doing?
Is there a lot of like explosives going on in Canada during Canada Day? Like a lot of fireworks being shot off people's yards?
Absolutely. So right across the way from me, I have like a playground field, you know, people take walks and that. And yeah, they were going off like crazy the last couple days.
Interesting. I would have definitely put money on the fact that it would have been illegal in Canada to shoot off fireworks because
it might be, but
just the RCMP just aren't in the business of busting anyone for it.
Yeah. They have moose things to attend to.
Moose things. All right, guys. So this is a show made for you and funded by you. We count on your generous super chats to keep the lights on around here, and you guys are generous every single week, and we very much appreciate it. We take breaks for your super chats between each story. We do break for super chats of $50 or more. So if you got a super chat of $50 or more, just let us know, and we will. Stop whatever we're doing to address your concerns. And it looks like right away, Regina Sharp for $50.
Dang.
McDuck, you'd risk worldwide nuclear war for your own personal financial gain. And then, of course, that leads us right into the ever-present
Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold!
Nobody wants war. I just want to keep the threat alive. I don't recognize the quote, but
if Regina ever didn't put Glom Gold on something, I'd be like, are you okay?
That's kind of how
Regina's a robot at that point.
It would mean that like Regina had been kidnapped. That would be like Regina's way of saying that, like,
something's not right.
Send help right away. But Regina, we very much appreciate you every single week coming in here, super chatting. The $50 super chat, very, very generous. So I think you've earned a little something like this. All right. Thank you very much, Regina Sharp. And Ewan Cumia, member for 9 months, just says, Glom Golden Trish. I don't know if is that like a tag team that you guys are doing, or is it
Sure, why not?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, she was quoting Superman 4, by the way.
Was it Superman 4?
Yeah.
Nice.
Explains why I didn't. I even looked it up before the show and I couldn't find it.
Bring me the girl, or I will hurt people. No, the people. Love that.
But that Superman stood for truth, justice, and the American way, at least.
He did.
Which
And
we
he
will
looked like
talk
a
about.
man.
Yeah, he did look like a man. John Williams checking in for $4.99. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, so be sure to leave out some cookies and milk for Kurt Angle. I like that Kurt Angle was the one that you chose for that, not like Hogan or something, or Hacksaw Jim Dugan. You know,
Do Canadians do it for Bret Hart?
his name is. Yeah, Phil. Did you leave out like maple syrup and a donut?
I was just gonna say, yeah, maple cookies, but yeah, pretty much.
And it's pronounced Dugan. If
It's
Bill
absolutely
Watts
not
says,
pronounced that.
if Bill Watts says it's Dugan, then it's Dugan. Who you to
These
argue with
cookies
Cowboy?
are vanilla wafers, not maple. I was screwed.
John Williams from 199 says, why did Ironheart suck? Well, it's because it was Nolan's fault, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Nolan's
I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
I can tell you that Nolan had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, Nolan, we're not putting that evil on you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would burn that film at the minute I got a hold of it. So thank you.
Mike Glass checking in with 10 Tooney Town TV memberships. Thank you so much, Mike Glass. What an awesome way to start the night. You are a gentleman and a scholar, sir. We very much appreciate you. And then follows it right up with another 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. Oh my goodness, I am feeling the love here tonight with all these gifted memberships. This is
Can you feel the love, Mike?
I can. It's in the evening breeze, or I don't know what the.
I actually don't. I don't think I know the next line.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue.
Oh my goodness! You know what? That actually has inspired me. So I am also going to gift 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. So congratulations to those of you who have those. Yeah. Our friend all bees and baked with biggies for $2. My goodness, what is that?
Stop it!
Oh my gosh, what is it? I can't even see.
Tremendous.
Pooh Bear and a bunch of honeys.
Oh, okay. He says, "What up, everyone? Let's get drunk on beer, American flag."
Yeah, brother, let's do it. I got the perfect thing for you.
We're not getting drunk here tonight. We'll probably get drunk during All In, but that won't be beer. That'll be something a lot stronger. When we had to sit through that media scrum for the last 8 interview because we hit the super chat goal. I cannot remember the last time I was that drunk because I drank like a half a bottle of whiskey, like just to get, because I had to get through it. It was that terrible. Regina Sharp for $5 says, "Oh, like
what did you call me?"
She's summoning the Thundercats. She's not impugning your honor.
Exactly. Yeah, no one's
Thundercats are in the other room. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Right. Congratulations to everyone who got a gifted membership. Hope you guys enjoy it. We are back to this week got away from me as well. I know every week I'm like, we're gonna be back to original content, and it just kind of doesn't happen, and then I feel bad about it. But next week I think I do finally have everything worked out. Finally, there's no more buying a new car or moving or setting up a new studio. But you know what? We've got one more panelist to add. Martin Stone.
Hey, happy to be here.
Boy,
good to have you back, my friend. You got any fun plans for celebrating America this weekend?
No, just hanging out with my kids. I'm gonna make some homemade ice cream and blow some stuff up.
That sounds awesome.
I thought you were about to say homemade fireworks. I was about to get a bit concerned there.
I could make homemade fireworks.
That does not surprise me.
All right, so guys, we like to start off each episode of this show now before we dive into the news with a little segment called "What Are We Watching?" where we go around to everyone on the panel. We talk about what we're binging currently, or what we're playing as a video game. You know, whatever content has got our attention. And Phil Marks, since you are our guest this week, what are you watching currently?
Squid Game 3. I just finished.
I finished that as well.
Yeah, and that's like one of my favorite shows of all time. And then I also binged, and I just finished rewatching and then watching the latest Final Destination, because I actually didn't go see it when it came out. And so I just rewatched them all, and I kind of ranked them. I'm actually going to do it on my channel, like which one I think is better, in what order, and why. But yeah, so those have had my attention recently, and both have been great.
Awesome. Lauren Connor, what have you been watching this week?
Training videos for CCNA certifications.
Oh, well, fantastic.
That's exciting.
Wild, man.
Binge-worthy content, if I've ever heard of it.
You ever need a sleep aid, it's a great way to go.
Nolan Thunder, what's got your attention this week?
Well, I should be watching movies to prepare for the Genre Guys this Saturday, but I've actually been slacking a lot on that. Sorry, Lauren. I've actually been watching the 2003 Genndy Tartakovsky Star Wars Clone Wars miniseries, actually.
Oh!
I can't believe how... Yeah, I can't believe how well that show has aged. And I know this might be a little bit of a hot take, but man, I just wish that show was canon instead of the Clone Wars. Not saying that wasn't a great cartoon, but I feel like, you know, it was shorter and it fit better into the timeline as opposed to kind of having to overbloat, you know, the Clone Wars. And I think it had a lot of presence and natural immersion to it. And I don't know, I wish that we got more out of it in the end.
The introduction of General Grievous is unmatched.
Yeah. It is.
Agreed.
It's fantastic. Have you ever seen the videos of like General Grievous in that show, but done as like in the style of the Guardians of the Galaxy intros?
No.
Yeah, so it's like all the the cartoon characters, they're all like terrified and they're like backing up, and then you just hear and like Grievous they'll just keep playing that over and over again, but then when Grievous eventually like breaks through the wall and starts hacking people up, that's when they start doing the hey. It's amazing. And then they did Guardians 2 with him killing all the Night Sisters in from the Clone Wars show. So, oh my goodness, we got to take a quick break because William Thompson just gifted 10 Tooney Town TV memberships. Thank you so much, William Thompson. Good to have you here tonight, my friend. Oh, very, very excited to see William Thompson here. And also says, Lauren Connor, my hat is still better than your hat.
I thought we settled this weeks ago.
Did we?
If he'd been on the stream last night, he wouldn't be saying that.
He's bringing it back.
You did have a cool hat last night. But Regina Sharp coming back in with another $50. My goodness, you guys are all over it tonight, and this is absolutely incredible. It says, "Ooh, I like that." Kevin is obviously Panthro, Trish is Chitara, Lauren is Chaga, Martin is Tigra, Marvin is Lionel, and Nolan is Snarf. Yeah,
Snarf.
It is true.
Ooh, the Thundercats are loose, and we're gonna loosen your bones. I love that line.
You know what's funny? We definitely need more fan art of this kind of stuff, because Spencer had started creating the Tooney Town Titans fan art, because that was like one of our earliest ones where it was like, I think I was Robin. I mean, Kevin was obviously Cyborg. Trish was just because you have that booyah personality. Yeah. You played football too. Also, you played football.
Like a quickness. I play football. I play football.
Trish, I think Trish was Raven. Did we say Lauren was Kid Flash, or was he was he
Kid Flash?
Might have been, yeah. Nolan was obviously Beast Boy, because if you painted Nolan green, he'd be Beast Boy. Martin, were you Red Arrow? I think you were Red Arrow.
I think maybe I was, yeah.
Yeah, and then Spencer was Starfire, because it was just funny. But thank you guys very, very much. Oh my goodness, I gotta play you guys something. I gotta, you know, you gotta get some.
Because I'm Flint Hartglaw, gold, and I always will be. Is this some kind of game? Answer me, baby.
Please, No, covered with scorpions. Covered with scorpions.
No, covered with scorpions. Get them off me!
How does that keep happening?
One of you should call me so that I can play my ringer for Regina.
On it.
Okay. So are we just going to wait for Nolan to dial here?
That's right. Dead air, baby. Except for we got visuals.
Nothing like some dead air.
That's right.
Oh. Nolan, can you at least be more dynamic when you do it?
It's the Panther theme song.
Oh, fantastic. Well done. well done.
Thank you, Nolan.
All right, guys, we will get to the rest of your super chats in between stories. Like I said, we break for $50 or more, so we very much appreciate that. Okay, so Nolan, you had just told us what you were watching this week. Martin Stone, what are you watching this week?
I haven't gotten a whole lot of watching yet. I've actually been working on writing a book. But
fantastic. I'd love to hear that.
Thank you. But I have watched a little bit of Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister.
Oh, very nice.
They're two series. They're obviously related, but they're BBC series from the late 70s, early 80s.
Awesome. Trish, what have you been watching this week?
A bunch of YouTube videos. I follow some people on YouTube, so this is going to sound kind of specific and girly, but like one was about overconsumption and bag culture, because I'm a purse girl, and like the weird ways people are obsessed with packing their bags with just insane amounts of stuff that nobody needs to be carrying with them on a daily basis. And the expense at which people go to do this, but it's like to sell you things on social media. I know this is very specific. And the other one is how people are going bug nuts for Labubus.
What?
Do you know what? Okay, Labubus.
I actually do.
I'm a big fan of Labubus.
They're
Labuboo.
They're like these little, they're bag charm keychain things, and they're kind of big, but they're these furry demon bunny looking things. They're strange, and people have lost their minds for them and have acted accordingly.
It's the new adopted third world orphan.
All right.
See if I can find a picture.
Oh, it's gonna be that kind of night. See if you can find a picture. Kevin Apollo, what are you watching this week?
I haven't really watched much, but two things came across my plate today that fascinated me. To the point that I was actually curious and wondering if the new CEO of Red Lobster is also taken over SeaWorld, because apparently we can't actually sing the song, but apparently SeaWorld has become the most lit place on earth, as the kids would say. Because if you were a hip hop act in the 90s through early 2000s, you are performing.
You got on me today on the Pro Show for saying that a song slapped, and now you're calling something lit?
Well, yeah, I can, because I'm infinitely cooler than you.
That's true. But hey, wouldn't that be interesting though if the head of SeaWorld had was also the head of Red Lobster, and it was just kind of like funneling one to the other?
Well, I'd be maximum efficiency. But yeah, I saw a YouTube video of everybody at SeaWorld singing from the windows to the wall. And they were going nuts. It was incredible. And there were children there. Everybody was singing it.
What?
Everybody was singing it.
Theme park? What are you talking about?
I do wonder now what orca steak tastes like. Is that wrong of me?
No, I think there's like
the entire life cycle.
You get to pet your food before you eat it. They let you choose what you're going to take over to Red Lobster. It's terrible.
It's baby.
Have you ever eaten? Has anyone on the panel ever eaten shark before?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, it's good, right? Like it's a very light, like flaky kind of fish. I had like this sense of like peace come over me as I was doing it. I was like, how do you like it? And like it was, I just thought it was a good moment for humankind as we fight back in our endless war against the creatures of the deep. We are out. Everyone, I can't say that because I'm terrified of sharks, right? I'm terrified of sharks. I'm terrified of orca whales. Oh, orcas are even scarier than sharks. They're just Oreo sharks. They're not whales. They
are. It's so smart.
They're too smart. They're too big. They're too fast. They're too strong. I don't like
but
it.
You know what's bad about sharks like down in Florida is there's the bull shark down there that can survive both in salt water and fresh water, so it can swim up into the rivers of Florida.
Exactly. See, there are sharks out there that are like 1,000 years old, I think, or at least 100 years old. And,
Iceland.
Yeah. Like people are like, humans kill 1,000 times more sharks than sharks kill humans. I said, well, good. That means we're winning.
Yeah,
Continue
they're brainless monsters.
Exactly.
You ever see Jaws?
I have.
Those eyes, those doll's eyes.
I will watch Jaws tomorrow because it's my 4th of July tradition.
Amazing.
It is. It's being re-released into theaters. I think August 29th.
It's 50 year. It's a 50-year
anniversary.
anniversary. Yeah. I watch Jaws every 4th of July, and everyone's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because does no one realize it's a 4th of July movie?" You yell Barracuda. Nobody bats an eye.
I was gonna say, and Ann Wilson comes out.
You yell shark. We got ourselves a panic on the 4th of July.
You don't happen to have an anchor blazer, do you?
No, but I do have a really cool Jaws shirt that I bought at Target that I can't wait to wear. But so what I'm watching this week, I've been watching quite a few things actually. My wife really likes this show called The Gilded Age on Max. And I thought it was just going to be another one of these stupid, stuffy, like high-class society drama shows. We started watching it. It's actually really good, and I'm actually getting really into it now.
You need to stop talking smack about Downton Abbey, or we're going to have
I don't
beef.
like it. I don't like
we're
it.
We're going to
have
beef.
I'm watching that. I'm watching that. I've been watching... we've been watching The Sopranos a little bit, but I watched Poop Cruise on Netflix the other day. And my goodness, what an ordeal those people went through.
Poop Cruise. You heard him right.
Is that a documentary about those people got stranded on like a vacation cruise ship without the power and all that?
Yep.
In 2013, a Carnival cruise ship caught on fire in the engine room, and all of the power cables burnt out, and they were stranded in the middle of the water, and none of the toilets worked, and the air conditioning was off, and it was just pure chaos, and it, like the showers started overflowing with sewage. There was human excrement everywhere, and that looked like a better time than watching Ironheart.
Well, it did outscore Ironheart in the ratings, so more people wanted to see Poop Cruise.
More people,
at least on the Poop Cruise, when they got to a certain point, at least they opened up free alcohol at the bar. I don't think Ironheart ever offered any alcohol to its viewers.
Well, what's funny is like the Poop Cruise outdrew Ironheart, and Ironheart had 3 episodes. The Poop Cruise is like maybe an hour or so. Like it's just one documentary. So that's really saying something that many people watched the Poop Cruise, or that few people watched. But also I did watch Squid Games, and Phil, I'm with you. I don't understand why people are upset about the ending. I'm like, did you think it was going to be happy?
Yeah, or just the show in general. I mean, I just think that each season's like a true sequel to the other, and I just like the character progression, and I just, yeah, exactly. Like, what do you think the ending was going to honestly be? And he wanted to wrap it up, the director. I'm not even going to chance a shot at his name, right?
But, don't.
Thank you. But yeah, so I thought it was brilliant, but hey, I mean, it's subjective. So if people want to poo-poo all over it, I mean, that's on them.
Yep, absolutely. I very much enjoyed it. I thought the ending was haunting. I thought that was Cate Blanchett at the end, but I don't think it was. Was it?
Yeah, it was.
My wife was saying it was Cate Blanchett. I was like, no. I was like, yeah, no way is Cate Blanchett doing such a tiny little cameo, but I guess it was. Yeah.
Well, they're planning like an American Squid Game, I guess, which I'm not too excited for, honestly. But this wasn't his intention to spin it off. I guess he came out and said like, yo, I didn't mean to. This wasn't me saying like, here's what the show's going to be, the USA version or whatever. He's like, that's just how I wanted to end it on my end. And yeah, so I appreciate that. And I like shows that get out before they wear out, like,
yeah,
just why shows can last like 6 seasons and then it starts to go downhill. So I like when you make a choice, creative choices, strong creative choices, you make them and then you move on. I'm totally cool with that.
you have your idea for a beginning, middle, and end of your narrative, and you stick to it. You don't go beyond it. You don't, because then you become Once Upon a Time, that Disney show that just went and that I loved the first like 3 seasons of, and then after that, it just, man, did that nosedive.
And like it came out a year after the second season, you know, if it came out, or I think it was a year, right? But if it had come out like 3 or 4 years or whatever it was separated between the first and second seasons, I think people would have praised it a little bit more, but because the anticipation would have been there. But it really just feels, I mean, people are making the joke, oh, they cut season 2 off in the middle and then they just started, you know, this is the second half of season 2. But realistically, that's every show that ends on a cliffhanger. You could make that argument. So I don't know, man. I really enjoyed it.
You know what? I would say the only good thing to come out of The Acolyte was that Lee Jung-jae learned how to speak English for the show, and now maybe we can get Lee Jung-jae in more things, because I thought he was excellent in Squid Games, and he was the only passable thing in The Acolyte. So
I do love the way Jonas does his voice and talks about the versions in the Force.
Yeah. That is true. All right, guys, we got to get on to the news here. You know what? I think there's only one place that we can start this week when it comes to the news.
It's raining men. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now is back in the news this week, as he is pretty much every week. So Pedro Pascal out by pretty much the entire internet over a video of him with Sarah Paulson, and we're going to take a look at it right now from over at That Park Place. See, they're awkward Pedro Pascal moment, this time with actress Sarah Paulson, all the wrong reasons, and critics say the Hollywood machine is rushing to spin the narrative for Disney's box office leading Man Hopeful before it spirals out of control. On July 1st, footage surfaced from the London press lane of Evita, starring Rachel Zegler herself. In the video, Pascal appears alongside longtime friend Sarah Paulson, which should have been a lighthearted red carpet moment, has instead triggered widespread discomfort online. Because guys, have a look at this. Now we're not body language experts here, but I want you guys to tell me what you think. Look at her. All right, watch her. That woman is not happy that she is being touched.
I've seen cats that have been more excited to be on someone's lap than that woman next to that man.
She even looks like she's trying to pull away from him. Like she's leaning away from him. I don't know why he feels that in order to whisper in someone's ear, you have to press your cheek to their cheek or smell their hair the way he's doing. But it is weird, guys. This guy gets away with this stuff all the time. And we have seen a bunch of people talking about it online. Valiant Renegade says she looks absolutely terrified. Friends from over at Force of Light Entertainment says this man is a walking HR nightmare. Let's see. Lord Botha of Memes a Lot said John Lasseter got ran out of Pixar because he gave hugs. Meanwhile, Pedro is full-on trophy wife clutching lesbians who look uncomfortable, to put it lightly, and nothing is being done. Matt Overlord Studio says she looks like she's going to cry. Uncle Coco here says there is definitely something wrong with this guy. Every video I see, he seems to be forcing contact with women, and they clearly feel uncomfortable. You can't blame it on some BS anxiety or whatever was said that he needs to be touching someone. It's just creepy. Guys, do you concur with this, that it is just creepy? Trish?
Well, I was going to say before that, did he say he just needs to be touching someone to not feel anxious? Is that a quote?
That was what everyone said when he had the weird moment at Comic-Con when he was rubbing Vanessa Kirby's arm and then she held his hand. People said it was because he was anxious and that's how his anxiety manifests. But then Vanessa Kirby in Vanity Fair a few weeks ago spoke out against that. She said that wasn't the case. It was a show of solidarity. But I think because nobody bought the anxiety thing.
Because I was gonna say before that, just to give someone and I'm not crazy about him, but just to give someone the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm someone I like to hug people, but you don't do it to everyone. You have to know a person, and you have to also know how they feel about physical contact with someone. So even if he's being completely innocent about it, it's still inappropriate because he's not taking into consideration other people's just natural feelings and boundaries about it.
Right.
If he was, let's just say, using it as an excuse for anxiety, I would have been like, no.
I don't know. He was in front of a large crowd at the Cannes Film Festival, sitting next to Joaquin Phoenix, and didn't need to grope him.
I mean, and that's fair too. That's something like you think it would be everybody, especially because it's not like he has any problems with LGBTQ. He's made that very clear.
Oh, very clear.
So, yeah, the fact that he doesn't do it to everyone is a little bit like, and I just think that it sounds like enough people have been a little uncomfortable by it that at this point he has to know that. Like, it has to have come across his radar somewhere that he's makes some people uncomfortable, and then he's not even trying to amend that behavior. It's kind of like the opposite of Keanu Reeves. When Keanu Reeves takes photos with women, no matter who they are, famous, not famous, and he holds them, but he doesn't hold them, he doesn't touch them. And part of that is smart.
He hovers his hand. He hovers it over their back or something.
Yeah, and part of that's smart for him because it's visible that he's not touching someone, so nothing can come back and bite him. Although, I mean, I don't know who would really want to do that to Keanu, but there's always somebody. Right. But also, that's just, you don't know how someone feels about stuff like that. So at the very best, it's very oblivious and tone deaf. And
Phil Marks, I believe I remember you commenting on this online, right?
Me?
Yeah, who gave this guy media training? Dan Schneider? What?
Seriously?
He wasn't doing anything for feet. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't know. He seems like he's rubbing people the wrong way lately. Am I right? Can I get a snare, please? Listen, I mean, it's you guys saw the video, right? It's he's wild, and he's, I don't know. You pointed it out. He's not rubbing Joaquin Phoenix like that or whatever. So, yeah, people are pointing it out. He's on camera all the time. He's got to watch himself, and you guys are right. He is doing stuff that would have gotten people quote unquote canceled or Me Too'd or whatever as recently as, I'm sure there's cases this year, last year, or the year before. Yeah. So, yeah, and I've just seen enough of him. You know, I don't think he's this good of an actor. I mean, he's a decent actor, but this good to where he's got every role ever. This is, some
Disney,
MK Ultra. They're just like putting this guy in our faces. I don't know.
Disney has got probably $3 billion of potential box office wrapped up in him right now, between Fantastic Four, between Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret War, and The Mandalorian and Grogu. Disney needs Pedro Pascal to be liked and not be canceled in the media. And you know, things that have come out, like him telling Dakota Johnson to go sell pictures of her body parts on adult subscription websites,
like as a joke. I'm presuming, like that's framed that
Dakota
way.
Johnson herself said this. She said Pedro told her that she should go wiggle a toe on OF and make money doing it.
Guy's got boundary
But
issues.
that's not the only thing she said about him. She went
she also said that he like takes her clothes and wears them. Like he's got I think that she is trying to like take him out the way she took out Ellen. It's Buffalo Bill. He is Buffalo Bill, Kevin. You're right. I could hear Goodbye Horses as you were doing the dance.
I could too.
Oh, but no. So here's the thing, because Disney has got all of this box office revenue wrapped up in him. Here's the thing that I noticed: less than 24 hours after the video began gaining traction, Vanity Fair swooped in with a conveniently timed article titled "Sarah Paulson and Pedro Pascal's Beautiful Friendship: A Timeline."
Would you cast me?
I'd cast me.
I'd cast me
Oh
so
my
hard.
goodness.
Oh my goodness. But now, guys, look at this. Look at this Vanity Fair article. This came out a day later, and it was all just on the wholesome, wonderful, beautiful friendship of Sarah Paulson and Pedro Pascal, and how much they adore each other and how close they are.
That's
Look at that
him?
one.
Oh my gosh.
And look at that picture. She looks
Wow.
like John Cena talking about Taiwan or whatever.
She never looks happy to be standing next to him, does she?
I
Does she ever
cannot
look happy,
believe
like,
that's
in
him.
general? Yeah. Wow, that is really something. But he looks like Eddie Redmayne.
I can see why he went with the mustache.
Yeah. It probably took him from that time to now to be able to grow it. See more of them here.
Whoa.
What
Now
is going
that's a
on
crazy
here?
picture.
Yeah.
Like, there's something different about his forehead and brow.
That looks overly airbrushed.
Yeah, really.
He's entirely too smooth.
Oh, are you trying to say that things about Pedro Pascal are manufactured by the Hollywood machine, Trish? Because I can't imagine that.
You know, all the other stuff that maybe grates on some people aside, it's kind of like they make you say things that you maybe wouldn't say about him, like about, say, his acting. So now we're turning around and going, he's not that good. And it's like people, I think, just talking about acting generally don't mind him as an actor on the whole, I would say. But, you know, you stick somebody in everything. And it's like, you know, people's most beautiful person. This is always the example I give. And they name someone, you wind up going, not that good looking, even though they're a good looking person. But they're so intense with it that it's like you wind up going, and it's shooting themselves in the foot doing it. I don't get why they do these things.
No, you're right. And guys, checking in with a $50 super chat is Regina Sharp. Thank you so much, Regina.
Regina.
My goodness, you are on fire tonight. We're going to change your name to Photon Empress. But Regina Sharp saying 5 or 10 years, this is going to be another everyone knew and warned people behind the scenes atrocity, isn't it? Oh my gosh, yes.
I did not know about the Dakota Johnson thing whatsoever.
You did. We talked about it on this show.
It might have been one of the weeks she missed.
Maybe it was.
Might have been. You might have been one of the ones that you missed. But Regina Sharp, thank you very much.
Once again, Marv yelling at me for things that I shouldn't have known.
Oh my goodness! Hold on, we got to play a clip for Regina Sharp, and we're gonna play probably one of my favorites. All right. Kevin Apollo, I would love to hear your opinion on this. Do you think that Vanity Fair rushed in? The timing is a little suspect, isn't it? That this video ignites online and a day later there is a feature on Vanity Fair that is lauding the wholesome, wonderful friendship that is Pedro Pascal and Sarah Paulson.
So I'm probably gonna be a little off from everybody else, but that's only because I knew they were friends for some odd reason. So like the timing of this article is fairly obvious. Someone was like, this isn't good optics. Someone cracked the whip and told their shill monkeys to go get something out there right away to make sure this wasn't an issue. I'm not seeing the look of horror and dread that everybody else is seeing in the other clip. To me, it just looks like she's bored and doesn't want to be going to see Evita, and probably got dragged there because she's his friend.
Well, she knows that she's going to sit in there and not be able to see "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" because it's on the balcony.
So the vibe I'm getting is, why are we here? Why are you making me do this? Not "Don't touch me, Masha." So I don't know. I just feel he doesn't bug me nearly as much as he bugs everybody else.
What I'm hearing you say then is Sarah Paulson's the man in this relationship?
Probably.
Oh, 100%. I mean, come on. Lauren Connor, do you think that the Hollywood machine is shielding Pedro Pascal?
They're not doing it as hard as they could be yet, but I think they're ready to do so. I think there's been enough talk, and he's soured the audience enough just by being omnipresent that they're going to have to start cranking up the machine. So I'm curious to see if after all of this and after this article has come out, if he starts cooling it a little bit, or if we continue to see this awkwardness in public. If we do, then I think, you're going to see the shield go into full effect.
Well, Nolan Thunder, I would love your opinion on this. What do you think is going on with Pedro in the media right now? Do you think Pedro has the ability to tone it back, or do you think that Pedro is just Pedro 24/7?
So he's an actor, so he's definitely very good at, putting on a fake facade anytime he wants to. People tend to overlook just how good actors can be, even when they're off the clock, so to speak. We saw that with like Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire and company, but when No Way Home was getting promoted, how they acted like they weren't going to be in the movie, and next thing you know, oh hey, they were there. Of course, you know, this is regarding a more serious subject matter. I said it last night during the pro show. I do not like taking like, you know, a few second clips out of context, because you don't know, maybe that girl was passing a kidney stone at that moment. But there is a routine thing we are seeing with Pedro here, and I do think there is a bit of smoke leading to a fire with this. Now, legally, I'm not saying that he did anything here, but I do think that there is a team behind the scenes that are trying to protect some questionable things he might be doing. He seems like some of these big time personalities who think they're all that tend to have a lot of antics behind the scenes, and I do think there is a shield already being put into fruition here, and we literally just saw it with that article. I think you're going to see some more damage control coming, especially if things start going south for Fantastic Four. Or, hey, even if the movie does well, you know, when actors are happy, I mean, we saw them dance with that glow stick, so let's just wait and see. But there's reason to be concerned.
I honestly think
was it hold on, was it this close? Sorry, Trish, go ahead.
I honestly think the overexposure is the bigger problem for him.
Yes.
I do. I agree with that. I agree with that too. Yeah.
It reminds me of the Great Renner Harvest of 2012, 2013.
Did you guys see the meme with the Silver Surfette coming down and announcing that our world had been scheduled for termination, and the Fantastic Four saying, why? And she says, because Galactus is sick and tired of seeing Pedro and everything that he has to watch.
And then he goes, he flipped on Gladiator 2 the other week and was like, all right, that's it.
I forgot he was in that. He really is in everything.
You know, it seems like Hollywood can't get enough of Pedro Pascal, but you know who's had enough of him? J.K. Rowling. And J.K. Rowling has fired back at Pedro with an ice-cold response after he doubled down on the heinous loser and bully comments in, once again, Vanity Fair. J.K. Rowling has issued a sharply dismissive response to actor Pedro Pascal after he spoke at length about her in a newly released Vanity Fair cover story. So you see here, this headline, Pedro Pascal shuts down Rowling, defends T rights, and reflects on fame at 50. And she just replies, can't say I feel very shut down, but keep at it, Pedro. God loves a trier. I love her. She's just a stone cold, like, bee. And it's the greatest thing ever. Trish, you're a resident Potterhead.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that from her. But to me, what stuck out to me is the shuts down. I mean, you know, she's making light of it that way. But, you know, I was talking about this with Martin once. The wording of things sticks out. So it's like shuts down. It's not very objective language. And I think that's my bigger takeaway from that entire thing, is that instead of just saying that they're having a war of words, they're clearly taking a side in it. That's just the thing that I keep thinking about in that. I mean, she writes. He doesn't. He just reads words somebody else writes. So I would think she's going to be better in a war of words than he will be. So
it's funny because he said so many things about her, like you know, so many different lines, and she just shut it all down in two sentences.
She doesn't need to care.
No.
No,
Phil, you sounded like you were about to say something before I'd gone to Trish. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, who sicked this guy on her? Like, what's his deal with her?
Okay, so Pedro, when the UK passed their law that stated that sex is determined through biology.
Okay.
She posted a comment, smoking a cigar, where she said, "I love when a plan comes together."
Right, I saw it. Yeah.
Yes, and he called her. He said she has heinous loser behavior. He called her a bully.
You mean that guy licking the glow stick said that? Is that what you
yeah? This guy.
All right.
Yeah,
exactly.
If I can, just
Please,
for clarity, they didn't pass a law. Their high court ruled that the original intent of their law regarding sex discrimination explicitly, the original intent was that it understood gender assigned at birth or gender revealed at birth.
Right. That makes sense. So yeah, he fired back at her because I don't think he either doesn't understand or doesn't care, because he comes in from a purely selfish place because his sibling is part of the T community. But J.K. Rowling's like objection to biological men in women's spaces comes from her history as a survivor of abuse. So he's basically attacking an abuse victim for sticking up for the safety of women, which I think is just really tone deaf. But he's not the only one attacking her. He's just one of the loudest ones with the biggest voice doing it. So, we'll see. I guess at least we know that Harry Potter will be like the one franchise we're safe from him with. All right. Anyone else have anything they want to add about J.K. Rowling and Pedro Pascal before we move on to some super chats? Nobody? All right. Let's go then. We have got William Thompson for $2 says, I'm offended, Lauren Connor. Why was he offended? What'd you say? What'd you do?
He was saying that his hat was better than mine, and I told him he wouldn't be saying that if he saw me last night. Then he said he was offended, and I told him, he'll get over it.
Yeah, well, your hat was pretty epic last night. You did have the Indiana Jones hat rocking last night. You had a full Indiana Jones outfit last night. It was pretty fun.
It was a special occasion.
Over there on the Pro Show. John Williams for $4.99 says, what helped the pacing 2DCW was the fact that they were operating on the info the CW is meant to be 3 years long was made yet. I'm assuming...
Clone Wars.
Oh, Clone Wars. Okay, what helped the pacing of the 2D Clone Wars was the fact they were operating on the info that the Clone Wars was meant to be 3 years long. Yeah, it was. I liked the little 15-minute. At that time, we were also starved for Star Wars content between movies. Also, that cartoon was an event. I mean, it came on like between two shows because it was so short.
They weren't even 15 minutes, at least until the second season. Most of them were about 3, I think. They were extremely fast-paced, and that was a lot of the fun of it. They compacted so much storytelling into such a short time. It's an amazing series.
I remember
I once heard that originally it was supposed to be 60 seconds long, like only a minute, but I think Gendy told Lucas, I'm not making a toy commercial, so it ended up being 3 minutes.
Well, it's like it takes Lucas's faster and more intense to its extreme, and it's really cool to see what they managed to squeeze out of that.
When Grievous first shows up, I loved his voice so much, and I was really hoping that was going to be the voice in the movie. And then when I heard the Grievous voice in the movie for the first time, I was so let down. I was just like, oh no. But then I was like, he got his chest crushed, or at least, at the time we thought he did.
But that really is, I mean, to me, that is the best introduction of a villain. I think that the introduction of Grievous in the 2D Clone Wars beats the introduction of Maul in the Phantom Menace. It's just he is a terrifying machine, and when he takes out all those Jedi in that crashed ship, it's like the anticipation for seeing what he was going to do on the big screen. It could never live up to what they did in that cartoon.
I remember thinking Ki-Adi-Mundi was not going to be in episode 3. I thought he was dead there. I really did. That when he crashes down on that Padawan who tries to run, I mean, what a moment that is.
Jedi Shaggy.
Yeah.
Also, as much as I love the clones, the 2D clones are way better than what you get in the later theory. They are just they're absolute badasses. Best show for the clones ever.
Absolutely. Regina Sharp for 5 says, that's how we taught the wolves respect, advanced weaponry and armor people. All bee booty bees and bacon with big bees for $2 says, I'm proud to be an American.
I want to support that beer company. I don't even drink beer, and I drink that.
John Williams for $4.99 says,
milk. From milk flavored.
A bull shark incident is what inspired Jaws. And reading the book, it's blunt that the man is the main villain. None of the humans are likable in the book, because in the movie, I find Brody to be very likable. I like Quint. I like everybody in that movie except for the mayor. I guess he's talking about the book. So. William Thompson for $2 says, I'd rather watch paint dry than watch Ironheart. Yeah, There would be a lot more would happen when paint dries than if you watched Ironheart, because like the paint would dry and that would be a thing that happened. You wouldn't just feel like you wasted time of your life. John Williams from 499 says there wasn't supposed to even be a SG season 2. SG Squid Game season 2. It wasn't a creative choice, but the network told them to keep going. Yeah, I could see Netflix wanting more. Regina Sharp for 5 says you have to know when to hold them. It's just not for cards, Pedro. Well done. Well done. All right, guys, moving on. We have got to talk about, this is kind of a Pedro adjacent story, but it's not a Pedro story.
Oh, good.
Yeah, one of the IPs that Pedro has weaseled his way into over the years has been The Last of Us, where he was grossly miscast as Joel alongside the grossly miscast Bella Ramsey, grossly miscast by a man named Neil Druckmann, who is the infamous mastermind behind Naughty Dog Games and was the executive producer on this show. He is leaving ahead of The Last of Us Season 3, claiming it's to go focus on his new game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. However, it should be noted that it is a time in which the HBO series has seen a massive ratings decline. Neil Druckmann said, to our Naughty Dog community, we wanted to let you know that studio head Neil Druckmann delivered the following message to our team this morning. I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO. With work completed on season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to execute, produce, and direct and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication of the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. Guys, this guy is, I mean, he is king woke. He is he's the guy that completely torpedoed his second game and then yelled at you all for not liking it. He has and then so arrogantly, after The Last of Us 2 was so unpopular, stuck to his guns for season 2 of the show and did basically a direct version of it again. This guy does not care what you think. He has stated that he doesn't believe artists should be swayed by the people that they're trying to help. He's just not a good creative, and he is apparently stepping away now from season 3. I'm just going to leave this here on Bella Ramsey because apparently he's not needed for the season where all they're going to do is focus on Abby. So they've split the second game into 2 parts. Season 2 focuses on the Ellie part of the game, and season 3 will focus on the Abby portion of the game, aka the portion everyone hated. Do you believe, Kevin Apollo, that he's actually stepping away to go work on video games? Or do you think that HBO was like, man, this show because look, here's the numbers to back this up. Despite critical praise, audience reception diverged sharply. Season 2 currently holds a 92% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, while the audience score is 37%. The growing divide has reignited debates about the show's creative direction, particularly its handling of key characters. And then we've got the actual numbers for the finale, which, here it is. After debuting to widespread acclaim, The Last of Us Season 1 concluded with a finale that drew 8.2 million U.S. cross-platform viewers. In contrast, the Season 2 finale, which aired May 26, brought in just 3.7 million, which was a 55% drop from the previous finale. But you also consider the Season 2 premiered with 5.3 million, which means it lost 30% of its audience over the course of its run. Kevin Apollo, your thoughts?
I believe that, just like I believe it when a politician decides to leave their position to go spend time with their family.
Right.
It's
like Jennifer Salke really just wanted to go produce more.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. The only bad thing is that the executive who decided that they're going to let this idiot make a direct adaptation of the second game, knowing that there was no place else to go. And when you watch the show, they start panicking because they realize that the changes that they made no sense, and they needed to find a way to make certain things threatening again. while also defying any and all logic, specifically when they find themselves in that hospital with the army guys, and you can't go in the basement because the spores that they said weren't going to turn you into a plant zombie now magically turn you into a plant zombie, and for some reason they can't figure out why people are randomly turning into zombies when it's just leave the stupid hospital and take the equipment with you.
Mm-hmm.
We knew this was going to happen. The second game was rejected immediately. It took 2 weeks, and the rest of the planet was like, "No, this stinks. No one likes the messaging here. No one likes what you did. We don't like being lied to. This is just, I don't know. This is." I'm so annoyed we have to talk about this because this is just stupid. This is stupid.
It is. Phil Marks, have you ever played The Last of Us or watched the show?
No, I have not played the games. I have not watched the show. But yeah, just my perception of it is essentially he's jumping off the ship as it's kind of going down. No, am I correct in that assessment?
He was definitely canned. That's canned language. We
got thrown off the sinking ship.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. But no, I'm not a fan. I mean, I would like to play the game. Everyone says it's great. The show, everybody praises it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. You know what I mean?
Just play the first game of the DLC and ignore the second.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take your word for it, Kev.
My thing is the Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, which he's leaving to go direct. That's like been filmed already. I'm pretty sure we already have trailers for it. So I feel like the bulk of the work it's just in development now, where he probably just has to okay things. Like it doesn't seem like it's a thing that should be keeping him from being on this HBO show. The timing to me is just kind of suspect. Now I'm not a game designer. I don't really know what level of work has to go into that, but I'm just saying, like to my untrained eye, Nolan Thunder, it kind of feels like, maybe this is an excuse.
Yeah, I think he's getting out at a good time. And it's kind of funny and ironic because, he can use it as an excuse to not take any blame for what happened. It's like, oh, look how bad they're screwing up the game. When in reality, they screwed it up. This is their fault. And Naughty Dog has never been the same since the OGs departed. This isn't the great time of Crash and Jack and Dexter. This is modern woke Naughty Dog. It's disappointing.
Well, and an entire season of Abby is going to just be monstrously unpopular. I mean, it was unpopular in the game. This girl comes out of nowhere. She kills Joel, and then halfway through the game, you have to play the second half of the game as her. And the point of it was, I think, to humanize her and make you realize that there's different perspectives in this world, and what one person's villain is another person's hero. But at the end of the day, nobody cared. They were like, this girl killed Joel. No one.
Exactly. It could have worked if she didn't murder a beloved character.
Yeah.
And decimate a father-daughter relationship. There were tons of ways to have had her be an antagonist in the first half of the game and put them in some kind of peril, and then when you switched it back over, cast her in a different light. But that's also that nonsensical desire to not let a villain be a villain if they're just misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. Can you imagine let's say Buffy, right? Let's say on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, some new girl came in season 2 premiere, kills Giles. And then half of the season is from her perspective, and you can't shift away from it. And they want you to commiserate or become a fan of her, and this is your new hero because she's killed off the father figure from the previous one. Nobody would have gone for that.
Don't go giving them ideas for this reboot now.
Yeah, please.
What was that Call of Duty game where you played through and then in the end found out you were a war criminal? Was it Call of Duty or something else?
No, that was. Oh gosh, that was the one. That was that was the one. I can't think of which one it was. It was the Soviet era one, right, with Castro and all those guys.
I don't think so, because that's one where Reagan just flat out asked you to go commit war crimes, and I was down for that one. No, I'm thinking of the one where it plays with the idea of sanity, where you're playing as a character who's not perceiving things correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that one. Yeah, Castro era.
Okay, because it seems this era of gaming that hopefully is in its twilight has wanted to defy categories by making you side with Bowser instead of Mario, although Nintendo never really went into that.
You should side with Bowser.
One of the first games that I can ever remember where it was like, now you get to play as the villains was Sonic Adventure 2. And that worked because the villains were cool. And like, they never did. It's not like Shadow came in off Knuckles and then they were like, now play as him. Like that's not a thing that happened. Like you just played as Shadow and he was neat. But then after that, I think everybody got kind of like obsessed with like playing as the bad guy. I don't know. It's not.
It shows the incompetence at Naughty Dog, because could you imagine? Shadow is one of the most popular characters in Sonic, and if they had actually pulled something like that, could you imagine how much everyone would hate Shadow in the same way people hate Abby? Like, do people not understand that introducing these characters, you might love them because you created them, but when you bring them in, this same problem with Force Awakens, and have them kill off the most beloved characters, if you're going to go that territory, use a character that's already established, in my opinion.
Lauren, was The Last of Us ever on your radar? The game, the show, anything?
I have not cared about any of it. Not a bit.
I would have thought you would have liked the first game, because the first game is actually very good.
I'm not really a zombie guy, and so...
You seem more Red Dead Redemption to me, Lauren.
I tried that too, and I can't get into it. I feel like I should be able to, but I'm not really a fan of, I guess you would call it sandbox games. I tend to be more of a theme park kind of guy. I keep wanting to go back and give it another shot. It's just for some reason, Red Dead didn't work for me, and it bothers me. It's one that I should like, but
I get that.
It just, for some reason, I didn't get in.
Yeah, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. All right, guys. Time to get some super chats, and then we will move on to our next story. Cannon Barnes checking in for $5. His rank of my favorite Star Wars villains: number 1, Darth Vader; number 2, General Grievous; number 3, Darth Sidious; number 4, Count Dooku; number 5, Darth Maul; and number 6, Grand Moff Tarkin. I think Darth Sidious is a little low on that list, but because he is the ultimate villain of all villains. But I approve of everyone that you've included here.
I think you underestimate his chances.
I showed Lauren and Nolan when we were hanging out in person a video that makes the case that Palpatine is the greatest movie villain of all time, and it is a fantastic video. It talks about how like they were like the fact that the Sith come back after like 1,000 years. They were like, imagine if the descendants of Genghis Khan came back today and like took revenge on Russia. Like that's basically.
And while doing it, we're yelling, "Surprise, suckers!"
Hold on. Bear in mind, the Saxe-Coburg nearly did conquer the entire world through the British royal family.
That is true. That is true.
That was
Cannon Barnes for $2 says Matthew Woods has such a great Grievous voice. Is that the one? Is that the movie one, or is that the cartoon one?
Movie.
He's the movie one.
He's the guy that took over pretty much for Ben Burt.
Okay. John Williams for $4.99 says Spielberg hated the Jaws book. He rewrote the characters to make them likable. Matt, famous for having an affair with Brody's wife. Mayor was with the mob. Oh, I never read the Jaws book.
What's with Hollywood and always wanting to get people who hate the source material? I mean, it worked out, but really,
you can't really argue results there. No, with Jaws, but there was no internet yet. So, I mean, you look at Jurassic Park. I finally read the Jurassic Park novel a couple years ago for the first time, and I was like, man, I love Jurassic Park, but I'm like, this is so much better. Like the book was unbelievable. Michael Crichton.
Isn't it more like a horror movie?
It is, but it's a techno thriller.
Yeah.
So without John John Williams' music transitions seamlessly from this grand adventure theme to horror. Like you don't realize you're watching a horror movie until it starts. The book is techno thriller the whole way through.
Yeah, the book opens up. I love that scene. The book opens up with literally somebody coming off of the island, and this guy he's all slashed up, and he's being like taken by like emergency medical personnel, and they're like, "What did this? What did this?" And he's like, "Raptor." Like as he died, and like you don't know what the book is yet, really, and like they put over the raptors as the big bads like right away. There's an entire aviary scene that I guess they tried to insert into Jurassic Park 3. They did not have the technology to do that for Jurassic Park 1. But there's an entire chase with the T-Rex while they're rafting down the river that never happens. I mean, it is a lot that doesn't happen in that book, Martin Stone.
In the first book, the raptor moves through the water like a crocodile.
Yeah.
But is it the first book or the second where in Costa Rica they're having a rash of SIDS deaths, crib death, and people are attributing it to Chupacabra, but it's implied that it's actually maybe raptors or compies or something that have escaped?
It's compies. It's the first book, and it's compies. Yeah, because the compies have gotten off the island.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that because I didn't read the second book, but I read the first one, and I do remember the crib death thing.
I haven't read it since high school.
Yeah, it's oh my gosh, the book is so good. At the end, I don't remember, but at the end of it, don't they blow the island up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Regina Sharp for $20 says Druckmann is just convinced that The Last of Us 3 would have turned everything around when he revealed that the male sex was actually caused by another fungus that had infected humans millions of years ago. Yes, Neil Druckmann. That does sound like something he would try to do. Forever Runner 199 says I'm more of a lefty, but Pedro is embarrassing. See, everyone can come together in their disdain of Pedro. John Williams for 499 says Spec Ops, that game you play as a soldier where he loses his mind after he accidentally bombs a camp of civilians, thinking it was because he thought it was a terrorist camp. Is that the one you were talking about? Spec Ops?
Yeah, I don't know. I played it briefly and then I kind of sensed what was going on and just dropped it. So I'd have to go through my library to see what it was. But thank you for asking, John Williams.
Yeah. Ricky Murray for 5 says, I remember people were pissed about the double standards of censorship by Sony around The Last of Us 2 game release, especially with the Abby relations scene.
Facts. 100% facts. They're hypocrites.
Well, what were they censoring other things, Nolan?
Yeah, no, Sony has a history of like anything these days that could be seen as the male gaze, quote unquote. They want to tone it down, censor it up. But stuff like this, they will proudly display it in their commercials and their advertising. Like, out of the main three, of like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they are completely unbiased on how woke they are. And I hate just throw around that word.
I would say Microsoft is a little bit more. I would say Microsoft is probably more outwardly woke, but yeah, I can see that.
Well, so Sony America is especially egregious. They are as bad as Microsoft. Just probably a little more aggressive with slamming you with the message.
JJ Gosling for £2 sterling. That's proper money. Says R.I.P. Michael Madsen. Oh, that one hurt today.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to talk about that maybe a little bit too. But yeah,
please go ahead, Phil.
Well, I'm just a big fan. You know, Kill Bill. Species was another good one. Some people don't. You know, he was good in that flick. Obviously Reservoir Dogs, and I don't know, just a legend, man. R.I.P. He was like one of my mom's favorites. So I'm like calling her, oh my God, are you okay?
I always loved his delivery I loved his line delivery. He was just an absolute legend.
Yeah.
He made those Tarantino movies like he plussed them by just being a part of them.
I always kind of thought he was going to be like the Gen X Robert Mitchum.
Yeah.
He never quite got there.
Unfortunately.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Anybody else? Any thoughts on Michael Madsen?
Yeah, I got one. There was a TV show that he was on. I think it was in the late 90s or maybe the early aughts. I don't remember which, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. I think it might have been Revenge Incorporated. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I've never heard
Vengeance
of that.
Incorporated. Vengeance Incorporated, I think, is what it was called. The
He was on
concept of the
24 too.
the concept of the show.
Vengeance Unlimited.
Yes, that's the one. The concept of the show was that somebody was in trouble. So somebody needs something. And he shows up and offers them a solution to their problem, whatever it is. It might be $1 million. It might be exposing your boss. It may be whatever it is to get this problem out of your life. But in return, you're going to owe him a favor. And in the future, he might call on you to help somebody else. And it was just an amazing show. It really was good. I think it only lasted for, I'm not even sure it made it into a second season. If it did, it didn't make it much beyond that, but it was a really good show. That was
If I'm
my real
remembering the
introduction to
same
Michael
one,
Madsen.
if I'm remembering the same one, it was like 15 episodes aired, maybe 16 produced or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Fascinating. Okay, I gotta look that up. That sounds like it's really right up my alley.
Right, it was when you were saying, like, right around when Good versus Evil came out, right?
Yeah.
And wasn't that around the same time, like Ray Liotta had a TV show that was on, like a lot of big movie names, or formerly big movie names, started moving into TV around the same time as The Sopranos and The Shield and all that stuff.
JJ Gosling has got it. I thought I remembered that. I couldn't remember it for sure. The thing was, you either owe him a favor or $1 million. And this was how he built his network to help people. And you never, I think his name was Church. I think his name was Mr. Church or something like that. And they never really got into who he was or why he did this. They implied that there was a reason for what he was doing, but I don't know if they ever got to the reveal of what the whole thing was. It was a great show.
Absolutely. Well, rest in peace, Michael Madsen, a huge legend, huge bucket of win. And let's move on, guys, to our next story. Like, I want to be excited for this movie, but every bit of marketing they do just makes me angry. Like, well, except for James Gunn pissing off the entire country of India, because I was like, you deserve this, James Gunn. But that one made me laugh. But Superman star David Cornsweet avoids saying character stands for the American way, opts for truth, justice, and good things instead.
Good things.
Yeah,
just good stuff. Good stuff, buddies.
Yeah, good vibes.
I'm glad he recognizes
good vibes
the
all
American
around.
way.
Yeah, good vibrations. Everyone's cool. You're cool. We're cool. It's all good. Okay.
So in a recent CBS Sunday Morning interview, Superman star David Cornsweet gave viewers a closer look into his approach to playing the iconic hero, but one thing was noticeably absent: the American way. Following the lead of director James Gunn and DC Studios' new branding of the character, Cornsweet described Superman's values using deliberately vague language, avoiding the classic motto that's defined the Man of Steel for generations. Instead of truth, justice, and the American way, or even the more recent truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, Cornsweet referred to Superman's principles as truth, justice, and all those good things. The wording raised eyebrows among longtime fans who have grown wary of Hollywood's tendency to water down American symbols and national pride. But what exactly are the good things? That's the question many are asking. Now, Cornsweet also tried to frame the character in more grounded human terms, likening Superman's emotional reserve to that of first responders. He says, just like when a firefighter or paramedic comes home, they might get frustrated or panic about something where in the course of doing their job, they would never let themselves panic or yell or raise their voice. It's a somewhat humanizing take, but also one that pushes Superman away from his mythic aspirational roots toward a more emotional and even slightly insecure portrayal. He also talks about that scene where we saw where he loses his temper at Lois when she's doing that interview. And he says, you're able to see not his anger at Lois, but his frustration with the perspective she's representing and his passion about how certain he is that he's doing the right thing. Now this is the part that really kind of irked me, where he says, even more telling, it irked me, but I also kind of understood where he was coming from with it. Even more telling was Cornsweet's explanation of Superman's identity, or rather identities. According to the actor, the character isn't just juggling Clark Kent and Superman. There is a third persona only revealed to close allies like Lois and the Kents. So I guess when you're playing up the Clark Kent disguise, when you're playing up Superman, the real guy is somebody that only a few people get to know. And he says, we haven't figured out what to call him yet. Rather than thinking about one as the real him and the other as the alter ego, there's a third, truer version of him.
I have the name Kal-El. How about that? Or well, for real, like Clark Kent. They know him as Clark Kent. Some people know him as Superman. The real guy's Kal-El. Boom,
See,
figured it out for you guys.
I actually have a different take on that. But Kevin, you know way more about this stuff. You were starting up a rant. Go ahead.
I just give me a second.
Right. Collect yourself for this.
It's like a rhinoceros. They start out slow, but like, once they get moving, you can't stop them.
So like the last part, Chris Reeves is so iconic, and I understand why he did what he did. It made perfect sense. The Clark Kent is a bumbling buffoon thing was a Richard Donner joint. He is mild-mannered. He's unassuming. George Reeves is the one who's gotten it the best. The Clark was always the first to go get knocked out. I'm like, oh, right, it's a stick up, see? And then George Reeves jumps in the way and gets it over the head, so that the robber stopped paying attention to him, so he can change into his jumpsuit. He didn't trip and bungle and make himself just a little soft simp soy boy, so that no one would ever suspect that he was Superman. That this wasn't a thing. Chris Reeves chose to do what he did physically, so that he can express the difference between Clark and Superman for the modern audience. The comic books don't really do this. It's not. It has never really been played up that much, to the point that now here we are trying to go for more accuracy in the movies, that this is a thing. This is not a thing. Superman is very comfortable with who he is. Also, this need to have him be emotional. I apologize if you're born after a certain year. There is this bizarre thing where, depending on the age of the men in your life, if you are a young man of a certain age, you have been encouraged to be a whining, blithering, mewing quim, instead of sacking up and just being a GD man. People want you to whine and cry and show your emotions, instead of being the freaking British sea captain who's super stoic while the effing ship is sinking. I don't need you blithering and whining and going on and on about your feelings. I don't care about your day. Did you get the job done, or did you not? Superman is stoic. He has the bleeping power of a freaking god, and he chooses to do the right thing, not because of some kind of mega complicated purpose, simply because he does it because it is the right thing to do. That is it. It is the good thing. It is the right thing because of his middle American Christian values at the end of the freaking day. This need to have to water him down and turn him into something woman adjacent is really effing irritating. And the fact that we have this stupid costume, and I guarantee you, Lois is gonna strong wham him all over this movie. I got nothing else. I got nothing else. I'm so tired of talking about this obviously crap-ass movie.
There is a I have been defending the portrayal of Lois for a while in the trailers, but I saw a clip just the other day where I was like, okay, I might be wrong, because she talks about like, oh, Clark, you've got all these interviews with Superman, and he's just like, oh, well, Lois, it's all in my article right there. She's like, knowledge is worth a lot of things, Clark, but not reading your writing. And I'm like, well, that was uncalled for. Like I get like they're trying to make them like playful with each other, but like it just came off as arrogant. It didn't come off as like teasing. Phil, you saw the same clip I saw, right?
Yeah, man. So like I'm trying to be high up on this movie, and I want it to be great and everything, but the more they're showing and the more we're seeing, it's like they almost should have dropped the first trailer or like the teaser the trailer and then just shut up, make everyone shut up. I just saw the Superman folks on AEW as well for my wrestling fans. There's like a crossover there that was pretty funny. I mean, but they had him with Kenny Omega, and basically what Kevin was describing is Kenny Omega, for those of you who know.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what are they, who's more womanly?
Yeah, so I don't know. I really want this movie to be good. We see the Guardians of the Galaxy-esque clip in the trailer where Superman's punching a dude and his tooth flies out, and it's very Rocket Raccoon-y. And I just I don't know, man. I'm starting to hesitate a bit. I just don't want to watch any more trailers. I don't want to see nothing else. I just want to go see the movie. Then I want to complain about it after if it's bad. But I'm willing to give it a shot. But yeah, the more I'm seeing, the more I fully agree with what Apollo's saying over there. And it's unfortunate because I really was looking forward to this flick in the beginning. And I still am. I'm not going to lie. I still am. It's like Fantastic Four. I know people are boo-booing on it, but I am going to go see it, and I'm going to be optimistic. It's not going to people's judgment of the trailers and everything so far isn't going to skew me going into it, but it's hard to just deny like objectivity, sort of just like what we're all seeing in the trailers, right? It's hard to deny that. So
right. Lauren, I want to tag you in to come in here and talk about how you have to attack Superman through his heart and that there is vulnerability there, because I know that's the point that you're about to make.
Actually, no, not this time.
All right.
I'm in both agreement and disagreement with Kevin, though. And I'm trying to figure out how to articulate what I mean there. I understand what you're saying about the bumbling Clark being a Donner thing. I get that. But I also think that's the best portrayal of him, because when you have a physique like Superman's, it's you have to do something to undercut that. You've got to go, well, this guy is he's just a dork, and he does it so well. And I also kind of agree with the idea that there are 3 versions of Superman when I stopped to think about it. I hadn't considered that before until you read that in the article, but then I thought about it. And it's like when Superman loses his powers in the Donner movies and then is despondent because he can't stop Zod and Ursa and Non and all of them, and he's lost everything. He's weak. He gets in that fight in the cafe and he gets punched and he's got blood coming, and he ends up back at the Fortress of Solitude. And here you see the Clark that I do think there's another version of Clark, and that is, it's not the bumbling persona that he uses to take the heat off of himself. It's the one that struggles with his identity, because he is both human. He was raised by his human parents, but there's also Jor-El in the background there. There's his Kryptonian heritage that is in conflict to a certain degree with his human upbringing. And that's where a lot of the fascinating stuff about the character comes from, is that the Kryptonian ideal would be that you are this strong godlike figure and your job is to lead these people. And the arrogance of Jor-El is that he would see no problem with that. But the human side of him says it's not just about leading, it's about inspiring. And I think that's the part where there's few people that would get to see that side of Clark, and that would be Lois and his parents. And so I kind of get that perspective. And I think you're probably right, Phil, that the correct way to call him there is Cal, because that is his given name, but it's the one that wrestles with both sides of his heritage. So that could be an interesting take. Now, like I said, there's an awful lot about this movie in the trailers that I don't like. I hate the cinematography. Everything I've seen of the cinematography, I hate. When it comes to Corin Sweat, not saying "and the American way," that's his handlers that have nailed that into him. I suspect if Corin Sweat was speaking out of his own mouth, he'd say it. I'm still going to wait and see what the movie is. I don't think it's going to be good, but I still really, really hope it is, and that they get this right. I want to see them pull it off. I don't know if they can.
If I can,
please.
I think I've said it on this show before. I agree with the 3-person identity, Superman, but I identify the other 2 as Clark in Metropolis and Clark on the farm. I disagree with the characterization of Kal-El as one of his identities, because having known some people who have been adopted and then later found their birth parents who had given them a different name, that to them is merely a historic or an interesting anecdote about themselves. They don't derive identity from what their birth parents had given them. That's, again, just a name that was on a birth certificate for a couple days.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much about really acting as though it's a completely different identity. It's just how you carry yourself. And I think that the Clark persona that he is in Metropolis is this bumbling but still extremely lucky reporter.
Yeah. But
Superman is the inspiring guy that makes things right. But when he's being himself, when he's alone, when he's questioning if he's doing the right thing, when he's struggling with how far do I go? How far do I push? How much do I trust? That's when I think that his dual heritage becomes interesting, because he's got to take both perspectives in hand.
Right.
Jonathan Kent's perspective is not the same as Jor-El's.
Right.
And yet he respects both of his father figures, and he's got to figure out what is the way that I reconcile these two views. And that, I think, is another fascinating aspect of the character.
Right.
Okay,
And
I can understand that, but
I just wanted to add to that, though, like also like the way it's not as though like Jor-El just like gave him up, you know, he sent him away, and like their planet was destroyed and all that. Right. And they were all, yeah. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. So he was like an act of heroic himself, you know, to get.
I think that this, from what I've heard, I think this movie is going to actually do the Smallville route, where Jor-El is not a good person, which you know, I have heard that one of the things that Lex finds in the fortress is like instructions from Jor-El about conquering the planet, and then he like reveals that to the world, which was a thing that. I found it interesting in Smallville. I never needed to see it again.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
I was just going to say, I think part of the interesting thing about Jor-El is that a lot of times he comes across as potentially a sinister character, but it's usually a misunderstanding. There's something there
because
that looks
he's alien.
Like, yes, and his perspective is different. It's haughtier. It is above these people. But it is not necessarily without its own logic and caring. But that's where those difficult conversations in the fortress come from. And I've always loved that sci-fi element of Superman. When you get to the Fortress of Solitude, and when you are talking to your dead father through his AI reconstruction, I love that. I think that that's some of the most interesting stuff to me, because there's lots of stuff that you can do with that Kryptonian side that you don't often get to see.
Maybe my pushback on Kal-El, using Kal-El as a name for the identity, is that I have seen in more modern comic books where other heroes will call him Kal-El or Cal or something,
Wonder
which is
Woman
absolutely
does it all the time.
ridiculous.
Yeah, Wonder Woman does it constantly.
Right. No, if they address each other by their first names at all, which should be a super rare occurrence in the comic books, he's Clark. That's how he understands himself.
There's a good line in, I think it's in The Death of Superman, where Wonder Woman and Superman are fighting, I think like Cheetah and Metallo, and she calls him Clark, and he's just like, Diana, code names in the field, please. And she's like, what, you want me to call you Superman? And he goes, yes, I do. I like the name. And she's like, and she asks him why, because you know, in modern superhero anything, like having a superhero name is supposed to be embarrassing and corny. And he's like, because she gave it to me, because like it's the name that Lois gave me, and it means something to me. And that's like why he likes being called Superman by them, when his name is, you know, they could call him Kal-El. But I mean, like, we all remember some of the best Gal Gadot acting that we ever got to see with Kal-El. No,
I like the idea that Superman is the person Clark aspires to be.
Yeah, well, let's see. Regina Sharp checking in for another $50 super chat. My goodness, Regina Sharp, you are all over it tonight. Regina Sharp says, yeah, Superman movie, blah, 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 blah. We are missing the real tragedy here, people. We need to talk about it. They put Nathan Fillion in a bowl cut.
I know.
I'd be speechless too.
Can I? When Guy Gardner debuts, he does not have the stupid Mo Howard haircut. There is a very specific reason why he had the Mo Howard haircut. When they realized that they didn't have enough space for Guy in the book with Hal, and they wanted to replace him, Guy gets into an accident, and they put him in a coma, and he sits there for, I think, a little over a decade. And then after they introduced Jon Stewart, someone goes, oh, wait, there was a whole nother Green Lantern that we wanted to introduce to the book. Because Guy was supposed to get the ring, not Hal. Hal just happened to be closer. When Guy wakes up from his coma, he is brain damaged. He is arrogant. He is brash. He just wants to fight. And to reflect that, he gets the bizarre, out of touch Mo Howard haircut. And then over the years, they go out of their way to kind of repair it and give him a normal person's haircut. So we're throwing him. It looks so bad. It looks so bad. The dumb red wig. I can't even call it a CW costume because at least I'll give them this. The CW costumes, when they put effort into them, actually looked pretty good. The Superman costume, the Supergirl costume, even the Flash costume, once they got the cowl right, they looked phenomenal. I'm all over the place.
When I first saw that he had the bowl cut, my first thought was, is The Death of Superman the only Superman comic book that anyone has ever read? Because it always feels like everyone tries to pull from The Death of Superman and The Dark Knight Rises. Those are your Superman and Batman stories that everyone has read. And in that, Guy Gardner has got the bowl cut.
Well, the guy had it for, I want to say,
I know.
He had it for a decade. Yeah.
It
looks hated Guy.
He looks like Stewart from Mad TV, though.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. It got buried. Like Ethan Van Sciver buried it too, and he drew Guy Gardner a bunch, and he's like, this is so stupid. And I don't know. A lot of people buried it.
I think the thing that they forget is, so two things, right? Especially when it comes to Superman addressing his Kryptonian heritage. DC forgot that Superman did not know that he was Kryptonian. Everybody else knew. The readers knew. Superman didn't know. And it took a fan to go, hey, what are you guys going to tell the Superman character where he comes from? And they're like, oh, wait, that's right. This character's been around for decades, and we never told him his actual backstory. The other part of his, and I'll give John Byrne credit, when trying to find a way to make the Kryptonians more alien and to have Jor-El stand out, no matter what version of Krypton is, it's the Jor-El's behavior is the same. Jor-El is lecturing the rest of Kryptonians for essentially losing touch with what made them Kryptonian. To him, they are too alien. They're too out of sync with reality, and because of that arrogance, they're not paying attention to the fact that the planet is destroying itself. In the John Byrne era, very similar to what you saw in Man of Steel, I thought they blended all the main origins brilliantly in the MOS cut. The Kryptonians are not actually having children the natural way. It's all it's essentially it's IVF on steroids. And what makes Cal so different is that it was a natural birth, and they're trying to keep that secret. The fact that they just seem to be weirdly obsessed with wanting to make Jor-El the villain, it countermands the fact that it took this incredible act of compassion and bravery to send your kid off into the wild. During
No, I'm with you on that. I agree with that. It's almost like an act of heroics in and of itself, like sending him away, and then, the planet's wiped out, and now he goes and protects this other planet, and his dad was, trying to protect that. So I think Cal if we're going back to, I think Cal is the way to go. But yeah, I'm with you on that, Kev. That's a good breakdown of it,
I think we're dealing with a misdirect, because remember, this is information that Lex is going to be bringing to the world to discredit Superman.
Right.
And that tells me that's not what's actually happening. Jor-El had some other purpose that will be revealed.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking my favorite Jor-El. It's not Brando. It's not even Russell Crowe. It's Christopher McDonald in Superman the Animated Series. I love the pilot of Superman the Animated Series. I just watched it the other day, and my gosh, was that just a perfect show. I love that show. I even love the rework they did with Brainiac, where Brainiac was like the Kryptonian like world mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I actually like that. So
that show had so many great Superman moments. One of my favorite has to be the cardboard world speech.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The world made of cardboard. Yeah, that was Justice League Unlimited, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. But that's
but
just
same
one big
thing.
Same
Paul Dini, Bruce Timm. So
yeah, I have more Dwayne McDuffie. I get sad every day that Dwayne McDuffie is in there because I feel like a lot of our DC movie problems would not exist if McDuffie had survived.
My favorite episode of Superman the Animated Series is look, I love the way the ending of it, where he beats Darkseid up in Apocalypse, and he's like, "People, you are free." And they pick Darkseid up, and they're like, "Master, are you all right?" And Darkseid just looks back at him and like smiles, like he's just like, you can't break that. The way these people feel about him. It was just such a dark way to end the show. But my favorite episode is the Mixes Pitalik episode with Gilbert Gottfried as Mixes Pitalik. It's perfect.
Amazing.
Perfect casting. All right, guys, you ready to get on to some super chats real quick?
Yeah.
All righty. Let's see what you guys had to say. Cannon Barnes checking in for $5. To me, if you've read Jurassic Park and the Lost World novels, makes Jurassic World Dominion so much better. Also playing Jurassic World Evolution 2. Now, yeah, I know Cannon Barnes, you liked Jurassic World Rebirth as well, the one that just came out. I know Culture hated it, but you liked it. I only liked the first Jurassic World. I mean, I like Jurassic Park. I even like The Lost World, because I like the concept of the second island. I mean, I don't hate that movie at all. But yeah, it's those, they're very hit or miss. And apparently this one's going to be a big miss that's coming out. Cannon Barnes for $5 also says Dominion isn't a perfect film, but Lewis Dodgson and how do you say that? Bison is such a big deal. I wish they had more of it in the other Jurassic films besides the OG. Saying that made me think of M. Bison. And speaking of M. Bison, guys, did you see who got cast as Guile in the Street Fighter movie today?
It was crazier than the rumors.
Officially. Cody Rhodes is going to play Guile in the Street Fighter movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes with the WWE is Guile. And I'm pretty sure that Roman he's either heavily rumored or confirmed.
He's cast. Yeah, he's confirmed. Yeah, Akuma.
Man, they're just going all out on this movie, huh?
Yeah.
Street Fighter movie. All I ask is please get Cammy's casting right. That's all I ask for in this short time on Earth. Please.
It would have to be Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney is Cammy.
Yeah, just please, fingers crossed, please.
I'm
no.
sorry, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention, but I heard something. What?
Yeah. Someone nobody's tired of yet. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Regina Sharp checking in for $5 says truth, justice, and Butterfingers, and nobody better lay a finger on Soup's Butterfinger. I'm surprised that has not been a tie-in commercial yet.
Yeah.
I don't like Butterfinger. I think it's a hot take. Yeah.
What kind of monster are you?
I just don't really like Butterfinger. I don't hate it. Like it's not one of those but I never.
One of those candies
like
that sticks to the teeth, right? Like, is that your objection, or is it just because it can't be the crispy, crunchity peanut butter, the crispity, crunchity peanut buttery flavor?
My peanut butter candy is Reese's peanut butter cups. Like that's what I want in a peanut butter candy.
Ooh, yes.
You know, not even so much the peanut butter cups, but like the Easter eggs that come out, the Christmas tree. Like I want whatever like the seasonal Reese's cup is.
Just because it's in a fun shape.
It's just for some reason it tastes better.
Because it's exactly the same thing.
The Reese's Fast Break bar is my favorite though, because it's like a candy bar that's a Reese's.
Lauren is so disappointed in me.
I was just gonna say there's people in the chat too. It's like I'm not mad at you all, but I am disappointed.
There's people in the chat that are mad at me or that don't like Butterfinger either.
Listen, every blizzard I've ever gotten from a Dairy Queen has been a Butterfinger blizzard. So don't at me about Butterfinger.
Wow, there are people who agree with me. Oh, that's nice. I thought I was going to get like everyone being like Lauren, but
I do feel like the Butterfinger tastes a bit stale.
Yes, there's no difference between a fresh Butterfinger and a Butterfinger that's been around for probably 2 decades. You can't tell.
But I also think that candy corns were only produced for like 1 year in the 1950s, and we've just been depleting the supply.
I like candy corn also.
Not like in a huge amount.
Trish and I are the ones keeping them in business.
Yes.
Let's see. Cuban Superman, our old friend, checking in for $5, says, "Hey Marvin, did your Amazon Superman tickets get refunded? They changed my showtime from 7 to 7:01, and I almost lost my seats and rebought in time." Not as far as I know. As far as I know, I am seeing it on Tuesday. Dis is actually going to be hosting Tooney Talk Wrestling on Tuesday, and I'm going to be joining the show late if I can get out of it in time. But for the website, I needed to see Superman fast so I can get up a spoiler-free review on Wednesday. It's one of the few times that we're ever going to be able to, have a review up before the movie officially comes out. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Great work.
Thank you. I bought the ticket from Amazon. Some of the best work I've ever done.
When does it officially come out? Is it Friday or
the 11th?
Okay, so that's. Do I need a calendar? Is that a Friday or a Thursday? I can't remember.
That is, I believe, next Friday, right?
Okay, yeah. So I'm seeing it Thursday myself, I believe, if I'm lucky enough here.
It might be.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I'll be seeing on the 10th. Amazing. I'm excited. And I want to say, by the way, I know that there's a lot of boo-booing on Superman, but listen, and Fantastic Four as well. I'll say this: I'm all about making strong creative choices when it comes to the books and the anime. You're never going to get things 1-to-1. So I'm good with like making bold, like, no, I'm going to stick to my guns, my James guns, and I'm going to do what I do. And I'm going to try and reinvent Superman in a way like we haven't seen it. And I'm all for that. And so, yeah, I'm going to pay my money. I'm going to go see it. I'm going to be optimistic, and hopefully I come out of it giddy. And yeah, hopefully some of the stuff we sort of fantasy mark booked here might play out as well, possibly. So.
Let's see. John Williams 499 says they were only on AEW because Tony actually thinks he's playing Superman. Yeah, Tony Khan looking like Clark Kent, or Clark Kent looking like.
I know.
Tony
What
Khan.
are the odds of that too? Like the pictures of Clark Kent come out early on. Everyone in the wrestling bubbles like, oh, why does Superman look like Tony Khan or whatever? And then it became reality. Sort of. We saw it. If you guys are wrestling fans, I don't know. We saw the crossover with Rachel Brosnan, and I thought they were kind of funny though. No, they paired MJF up with Lex Luthor. I thought that was cool, but yeah, I don't know, man. Just the odds of the universe putting that together.
Well, I mean, it's the odds of Warner Brothers putting a Warner Brothers movie for promotion on a Warner Brothers show. So.
Right, but just the fact that he comes out looking like Tony Khan, and then that it became real, It's like, what are the odds of that? I just thought that was
I was so mad when I first saw that. Maravita, member for 1 month, says, since when has canon mattered to anyone? It's just the audience that pays to see the movie, not like they matter to the studios. That's a good point. Maravita also for $10 is on the flip side. However, I might be late, but I am here. Well, we are glad that you are here, Maravita. And Regina Sharp gifted 10 Tooney Town TV memberships. My goodness, Regina Sharp. You are just, I can't even put into words how much everything you're doing tonight means to me. Like, really, really, really thank you. You know what? You're going to get a Glom Gold supercut real quick.
Olsen, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it. I defeated Scrooge McDuck! We were on the same team! Because I'm Flintheart Glomgold, and I always will be!
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Regina Sharp. John Williams also checking in. John Williams also has super chatted a ton tonight. Thank you very much, John Williams. Says, Cody, you're going to tell people to go home to a family man. Don't be stupid. Cammy got a behind. Sydney would be a bad choice.
Hey, now, have anyone seen the pictures of Sydney on the boat? I think she can stay up true to the source material now. Come on.
Just have her take a spin class a couple times before going. She'll be fine.
I could be wrong on this. Isn't Cammy British?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Has anybody heard Sydney Sweeney even attempt an accent?
I think she played a nun or something in a movie, and I think maybe, if I'm not mistaken, Or maybe that was some other thing I was watching. Never mind, guys.
Ain't nobody caring about what she sounds like, Martin.
Yeah, I don't think that matters.
I guess all she has to do is be better than Keanu Reeves, and she'll be okay.
Oh gosh. All right, guys. Moving on from the super chats, it's time. It's time to talk about this. Yes. And I know that nobody here but Phil and I have actually watched it, correct?
I
Martin,
did.
Did you see it? Okay, Martin. Phil,
I thought it might come up, and I didn't want to leave you hanging, so I went ahead and
I
watched it.
appreciate you, buddy. I really do. I'm sorry for what you had to sit through.
Hey, that's friendship.
I did not think that it could get worse than those first 3 episodes, and then it got way, way worse, in my opinion. Did you guys agree with me on that? Like the back 3 are worse than the front 3? The front 3?
Yes.
Because
at least the back. No, the back 3 did have that stupid cell phone video.
Yeah,
a couple. Yeah. It's worse.
It had the moment where she's she has her super secret hideout where she's building her suit and she orders Uber Eats to it. They make it a point to show it.
Yes.
So
my God.
the back 3 episodes of this, guys, it's mostly like it's the find out after the effing around, because everything that happens to Riri in these back 3 episodes, she has essentially brought upon herself. She has lied, cheated, and stolen, and not in a fun, endearing Eddie Guerrero type way. And now she's reaping, her just desserts here. They turned Zeke Stain into a supervillain with millions of dollars worth of cybernetic implants. And I assume the show wants us to root against him, but I was like, would you root against the bride in Kill Bill? He is
right.
he is so the aggrieved party here. He is the victim. This woman destroyed his life with her selfish nonsense. She has earned the electric zapping that he gives her.
Yeah. That and more.
Mm-hmm. And then the way she beats him in the end, but mind you, the only white guy in the entire show, she beats him by kicking him in the nuts.
And
I'm
he
like,
agrees to let it happen.
Yes. You had millions of dollars because my favorite pseudoscience of the entire thing, when they're doing the implants, the RuPaul's Drag Race winner turned hacker, it goes into the system, and instead of admin where it says Zeke Stain, she writes in Parker Robinson. And now the hood can telepathically control Ezekiel Stain. And the only way to break the hold is for his body to do a hard reset, which can only happen if he gets kicked in the pills. Which, by the way, millions of dollars worth of subdermal cybernetics. No one thought to give him an athletic cup.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want to reset somebody, that's probably the best way to do it. It sounds to me like this would probably work.
Noted.
So-
When the robots take over, kick them in the balls. All right, guys, we found the way out.
Not only that, but she has this really cringy battle in a White Castle with the Merry They Thems, the criminal gang that she's been a part of that are now trying to murder her. And
how did Waffle House not pay up for that placement?
Seriously, I did the same thing. Why do they do it at White Castle? It is the most overt product placement since the Power Rangers movie with the Krispy Kreme. It's on every single one of these people and walk away. Did you notice with that car flip and Slug just gets out of the car with not a scratch on him and just kind of sachets away? Bill Martin.
I'm sorry. You were kind of cutting out on me.
Yeah, you did for a second there. But absolutely. No, you're spot on. You're ripping it up. The show, if you want my take on it, I don't understand why they would waste Mephisto on this. I guess the next phase they want us to be like, okay, we're into the underworld and more magic and like Satan and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, she just comes across as a villain. I mean, really think about. Well, I don't want to just say like a villain because I don't know. That's ambiguous, I guess, these days, right?
Not even a villain, not a villain, but just like a selfish person.
Yeah, entitled, like overprivileged. You see all the fucking. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was my one. I'm so sorry. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna have one.
Yes, I knew it was coming. You see all the memes of like Riri saying like I'm in MIT. How do I can't afford to build this machine, and then it's like Tony Stark could do it because he's a billionaire, and then he's in a cave hammering away, slaving away, and he's like, oh, I made this Mark I suit with scrap metal and stuff. Those are the sorts of things that really irritated me about She-Hulk as well. We're like in this era of people are crapping on the Avengers that came before, even though in canon it's like they were, everyone knows Tony Stark like snapped everybody back type, like he saved the universe, he blipped everyone back.
The universe.
Yeah, so we're not going to make these little petty jokes on him and take little pot shots and undermine what he does. That's not what anybody would do, especially not somebody who idolizes him the way they sort of inserted that. Well, I don't know if she idolizes, but Riri Williams sort of, because in Black Panther, they didn't touch on it at all. She didn't even have like a Tony Stark poster on her wall, but just so happens she's into hot rods and builds iron suits. So it's really dumb. And then in this show, she's like talking about him, but it's always sort of undermining him. And I don't know why they're doing that. And then we have Robert Downey sending in these videos like, oh, isn't this show great, guys? And yeah, the back three, it's such Mephisto, Sacha Baron Cohen. Okay, that's great casting. I think he would have been a great Dr. Doom as well, but that's good casting. But then what they're choosing to do with him, I can't believe they wasted it. It's sort of like wasting hey, there's mutants and X-Men here on Miss Marvel. I just feel like it's underwhelming. There could be so much more to it. And I dropped an F-bomb. That's what the show did to me, guys. We did great until this show. And then it just comes
How
out.
about the fact that like the Merry They Thems, the thing I was talking about when I was breaking up was that she flips that car with Slug in it. And then Slug just climbs out of the car and walks away without a scratch. They had plot armor, and then they get back to Hood and he fires them and they leave and they don't come back, which means that they just had nothing to do with the plot. They were pointless. They were just there for the henchman White Castle fight. And then like she builds a suit out of a car. Iron Man was very clear in 2008 that you can't just build these suits out of any metal and expect to survive. And it's literally powered by Black Girl magic. Because they find, shockingly, they find a lesbian witch who, and because in the post-credit scene, she's wearing a Pride shirt. So
Disney's got a factory. Disney's got a factory making those right now. But yeah, I agree. Like with the magic stuff too, I saw a post from, I think, an official like Marvel account or Disney account or something. Maybe I'm mistaken, but they were saying, in the MCU, Chicago now knows about magic and stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, none of the Doctor Strange stuff would be on the news, like across the nation or anything. To me, it's just, it fell short.
Everyone knows who Doctor Strange is.
Yeah.
Like he's like super famous in the world because he's a superhero.
The sky turns red and they have red lightning. Of course they know magic is real.
Yeah.
A purple giant snapped his fingers and half of the people on the planet disappeared. Yeah. Of course you know that there's magic.
And they have confirmation Thor exists.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Hercules and Thor run around. Like, what is happening?
A blue portal opened up over New York, and aliens popped out of it. Like, come on!
And this isn't even like, oh, it should be closer to the source material in the book. This is a critique of like, are you even an MCU fan? Whoever made this show, do you guys even know what happened leading up until this point in the universe that you're playing in? That's what really irks me.
I will say, Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto. I would see more of him. I would like to see more of him in something that does not involve any of these characters, because he actually did. But did you guys? Let me ask you, Martin and Phil, about this, because in the first scene with him, he has like a New York kind of accent when he's talking to the Hood, and when he comes back later, he has a British accent, and they make the comment about like, "What do you change accents now?" Does it seem to you like they decided in one of the reshoots that now he needs to be British? And they just didn't want to go back and refilm that first scene?
I think it's some Jonathan Majors type. It's Sacha Baron Cohen trying when he came into this role. I bet you he pitched it like, okay, the devil relates to people in different ways, and I can do all these different characters. He's known for all the wacky characters he does and different accents and everything. So I think it's his artistic choice of what to do with Mephisto and how the devil can, if you're a British person, I'm going to talk to you that way to, if that can coax you into my whatever,
I thought that his portrayal of Mephisto was great. It was very sinister. It was very otherworldly, very powerful. But I think people thought that in the end of this show, Riri was going to have to, save someone or do something for someone other than herself. Even the moment that people are trying to call the big moment of her sacrifice, it's still a purely selfish move. So essentially what happens at the end of this show, and I don't care that I'm spoiling it for you guys, because if it helps you not watch this show, then I'm good with it.
Just a spoiler alert at everyone.
On spoilers. No one's going to watch this.
Yeah,
no one has watched it.
So she literally sells her soul to the devil at the end of this show.
Right.
She sells her soul to Mephisto to bring her friend Natalie back from the dead. Now,
right, but
this does not help Natalie. Natalie was dead. She was gone. She was at peace. Natalie's brother makes it very clear that he has processed his grief and moved on with his life. The only person this helps is Riri.
Selfish, yeah.
How Dean Winchester of her. Anyone who watched Supernatural must know what I'm talking about. That is a Winchester classic. Wow, it was actually went there in the show.
It was like when Willow pulled Buffy out of heaven. It's not a good thing to do.
No, it's literally a Dean Winchester move.
Right.
It's selling yourself to the devil, yeah.
But it's worse than that, because she sold her soul not to have her friend back, but the AI construct of her friend.
Right.
She was surprised when it was actually her friend. She thought she sold her soul to get Cortana back.
Yeah.
Stop it. Ugh.
Yep.
To get Theory.
I would like for this to be the last time we ever see her for the reasons of because she's terrible. But also, if this ends with her selling her soul to the devil and we never see her again, I'm good with leaving it here. And I feel a sense of satisfaction in knowing that she sold her soul to the devil and is going to burn in hell for all eternity. That to me is the perfect ending to this. If we never see her again.
Well, they didn't even use the you did it out of love loophole that they built in for Ghost Rider. Just I'm selfish and.
Well, yeah, and it's weird because she had the AI already, her AI friend's already there. And then you have to think she's complicit in murders, robbing, stealing, everything that goes on. And then in the end, it's just, it's not a selfless act. And if people want to say, oh, well, in the next show, she'll discover how she's a hero or whatever, it doesn't work. That's what this show is supposed to be. You're supposed to tell us a story of how one becomes a hero, or how they realize they're a hero, or maybe how they realize they don't want to be a hero anymore, or something like that. But it was just her, I don't know, getting, I can't explain. It's not villainous, but it's just this isn't heroic at all.
How about the fact that she I lost just the plot conveniences here. She needs someone that knows magic, and her mom just happens to know this sorceress that has a shop down the street.
Right.
It's just nonstop plot contrivances.
In the first episode, they were having some sort of coffee clatch with Sage and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sorry. So Aunt May burned Sage in Spider-Man No Way Home. I was not going to ask her how to contact the Nether Realm.
Decent point.
It was a heck of a leap to make and have it actually work out. It was just, this show was just pure nonsense. Not one character actually felt like they belonged in the show.
Was it a quantum leap?
Gosh, I hated it. So it was offensive to me. I didn't even know that there was a post-credit scene until right before we went on the air. And I saw a thing about it as to, a thing saying the Ironheart post-credit scene was terrible.
Well, are you going to
stooge
stooge it? Like you're spoiling everything. You might as well.
Might as well. Yeah. No, it's just the hood walks in to the lesbian witch's shop and is like,
so the hood walks into a candy shop.
Sounds hot.
I need me some abracadabra, and then it ends.
I need me some abracadabra.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he says.
The thing I actually found most infuriating, and this is because I've dealt with some contracts and things before. I figured that these contracts people were signing were going to be like their deals with the
their
devil.
soul. Yeah.
No, it's just a standard contract that's being signed under duress to transfer things to him legally.
Yeah.
It's not how contracts work. Duress negates the contract.
Yep. It's beyond dumb. I think the hood is just really dumb. And Mephisto was like, yeah, no, that'll work. Don't worry. Just keep doing the stuff I want you to do and then give me your soul.
No wonder his father abandoned him at 12.
I know. Kicked him out of the house. Oh man. No, it is just there's nothing redeeming about the show. It's far and away. Phil, do you agree with me? This is far and away the worst thing Marvel's ever done.
Let me just think really quick. Yeah,
I think it's worse than Secret Invasion. It's
Okay,
worse than the Marvels.
See, Secret Invasion was pretty bad. The Marvels movie, so to put that, like, the Miss Marvel show was not the worst. It was pretty bad. It wasn't the worst thing ever, but the ending, I just really didn't like the ending. And the final fights, they're always giving us like nothing on these final fights or too much. Like Secret Invasion was too much. But my wife, her favorite MCU movie is Captain Marvel. The Marvels, she made me shut that off within like 15 minutes. She's like, you need to, this is the worst. Like, what are we even watching here? And she refused to watch Ironheart. So there you go. If that's any indicator. And she's watched everything, you know, up until recently, where it's like, okay, what are they doing with all these shows? So yeah, this one was bad. I'd say it's the worst. Yeah.
Inhumans was pretty bad.
Hey, now.
Does that count in the MCU?
I do. I count it. Okay. All right. I count it.
Black
And
Bolt was
same
there,
with Cloak and Dagger and all those shows. The Runaways, that was another good one.
Inhumans just sort of forgot that one of their characters had hooves.
Yeah. And the one lady's hair, who her power is her hair grows long. They shave her head in like episode 2. So that,
that's expensive. That's expensive.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Well, they had the hooves on that. Who was it? Who's the Inhuman with cloven feet? But whatever, isn't it? They had it in the pilot episode, and then they just kind of shot around it in another episode, and then just later he's just wearing boots like everybody else.
Yeah, right. Gorgon, right? Or is that the
I think that's it.
Gorgon, yeah.
Right. So, you know, the one thing that I'm at least thankful for with this show is that nobody saw it. Because as you can see, it is a massive ratings flop. Did not even chart on Luminate with 3 episodes premiere. Now, the 3-episode premiere worked for Andor. It worked very well for Andor. Andor got on the Nielsen charts because they released 3 episodes at a time, and the way you measure ratings for streaming shows is minutes watched. So you release 3 episodes of something, 45 minutes each, then, you know, you're basically tripling your audience in terms of the ratings. With Andor, that worked because a lot of people, I guess enough people watched Andor. With this, it did not work. So we break it down here. So streaming originals, Mobland, number 10 on Paramount Plus, which is not even, it's not even a Taylor Sheridan show. It's just a random movie. And that got
that was fantastic.
What, Mobland?
Yeah.
It's got a second season coming, right?
Yeah, but it didn't just come out, right?
I think it just wrapped up like 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's still beat Ironheart with in the number 10. So the bottom of the list is Mobland with 260.8 million minutes watched. That means all 3 episodes of Ironheart combined drew less than that number, putting its per episode average under 86.9 million minutes watched. So for a Marvel Studios project, that is devastating. And a clear indication that the audience isn't just tuning out, they are gone. It lost out to Poop Cruise. It lost out to pretty much everything on this. Look at this list. The Waterfront, Love Island USA, Ginny and Georgia, America's Sweetheart, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, We Were Liars, Department Q, The Better Sister, Fubar Stick, and Mobland. Paramount Plus, Apple TV, Netflix, Prime Video, no Disney Plus on here, no Hulu on here even. So Disney just completely gone from all of this this past week. And I'm sure I'm very excited to see what Squid Games did.
Yeah.
As far as minutes watched this week. So I'm sure that's going to blow everything out of the water. I'd heard that like it was like massive viewership for Squid Games. So you know, everyone is like, oh, well, you know, is there going to be an Ironheart season 2? No, there's definitely not going to be. And the director has even said there is no season 2 yet. It all depends on how the fans receive it. And if it's any indication, what I've been seeing online, ain't nobody wants this. The only people that are saying they liked this are activists who didn't watch it and Marvel stans who didn't watch it.
Yeah.
So anything else anybody wants to say about this one?
They'll cross it over. They'll find a backdoor loophole like they're trying to do to salvage some of these characters, and they'll cross over some of the magic Ironheart stuff if they do an Agatha all along season 2. That's what they're going to do. That's my fantasy booking or whatever, if you guys want to put it that way.
John Williams from 199 says Cammy might not be British. It's complicated. Yeah, Cammy does have like a really weird backstory, I think, where it's like memory loss and a whole bunch of other stuff. Regina Sharp for 5 says, just to let everyone know who might wonder, they truly captured the essence of the comics and the character, and we will all suffer from it. Regina Sharp also for 5 says, for the record, in Re-Souls and Mephisto, at least it wasn't Spider-Man this time.
Very true.
When Spider-Man, to save 97-year-old Aunt May, gives up his marriage to Mary Jane because the comics couldn't think of things to do for him anymore. Firestreak Rodimus Prime for $2 says, this show of The Acolyte, which is worse, this is worse than The Acolyte.
This show,
yeah, Martin, you're with me on that, right?
I am.
This is definitely worse.
At least The Acolyte made a coherent attempt at staying within the lore. This was just incoherent.
What?
Attempt.
Like
what?
Like Lauren,
they did think through.
Go to your room.
Lauren, you don't understand. You didn't watch it.
You haven't seen, but I've seen.
By the end of that last episode, I was like, maybe we misjudged The Acolyte.
I'm not
maybe
saying
we were a little too quick.
I'm not making any judgments about Iron Man versus Acolyte. I'm making judgments about his saying that they made an attempt in The Acolyte to stay within the lore. Go to your room and think about what you just said.
I mean, they included what do you call it?
Don't you start. Are you telling me you are actually flipping your opinion here?
No, I don't like The Acolyte.
Do I have to sit both of you down here? What are we even talking about? This Ironheart actually caused you brain damage.
Could be, yes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make it worse then? I'm just saying.
The makers of The Acolyte at least bothered to create a defensible lie that they could believe. Nobody from Ironheart cared.
Yes, no one cared. Like, it's not, there's no, at least the purpose of The Acolyte behind the scenes for Leslie Headland was her own group therapy session, which, as terrible as that is, at least it had a purpose in someone's mind. I don't understand what the purpose of making this show even was. That's not saying The Acolyte's good or that Leslie Headland had good ideas. It's just that she had an idea.
Yeah.
This show was nothing.
You're dead to me.
Lauren, it's worse than Agatha.
Oh,
I think I just got disinvited from the Lauren Apollo show.
Agatha wasn't like that bad, but it was,
Agatha was bad. Don't get me wrong. Agatha was really, really bad.
Like, I didn't need to see it, but it wasn't like the worst thing that they've
Marvel has done worse. When Agatha came out, I didn't think Agatha was the worst thing Marvel had done, because at that point it was still Secret Invasion or She-Hulk. But this outdid both Secret Invasion and She-Hulk.
Look, I feel really bad. Do we have a Sydney Sweeney topic?
Thank you for taking the heat off of me in the Butterfinger debacle, because he
we're
was
still gonna have
shaming
words.
me.
We are still having. You know what? The only one of you I'm not mad at tonight is Nolan Thunder and Phil Marks. The rest of you, you're all on my.
Oh,
Love you, Lauren.
Hey, Nolan broke a roller coaster this week.
Yeah, it's true.
My bad.
Yeah, he did.
Hold on.
This is shameless. This ploy.
Do you think I'm this cheap?
Yes. I do. I think you can be bought.
Bought, yes. Money is a different thing.
All right, so how much do we have to raise to get Lauren to watch Ironheart?
I don't think that's what Lauren means.
There is no such amount of money.
Yes.
I don't think you put a price on that.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. I'm about to we got one more story to get to, and then I think we're tapped for the night. And it's a story that we covered last night on the pro show, but I think it's important to cover here because not everybody is a crossover from the audience. And hold on, Regina Sharp for $50 says Acolyte made an attempt. Butterfingers are mid. Highlander 2 is the height of cinema.
Just a mic drop moment.
You're on my list too, Regina. You're on my list too.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
Butterfingers are mid. Right,
Regina Sharp, thank you so very much once again. I gotta just play our thank you clip again.
You get me back with Indy.
Yep. Last story of the night. Indiana Jones reboot reportedly in development at Lucasfilm with new star taking over from Harrison Ford. Written on that Park Place by WW Pro. Who's that? But says someone other than Harrison Ford may soon be wearing a fedora. After the commercial disappointment of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Lucasfilm appears poised to chart a new course for one of its most treasured properties. According to a major report from The Diz Insider, the studio is quietly preparing to reboot the Indiana Jones franchise with a formal announcement potentially arriving as early as next year's D23 Expo. The project is said to be in early development with a new take on the character being considered following the retirement of Harrison Ford from the role. So, yeah, this is Disney reportedly planning a full reboot of the Indiana Jones franchise. They can't. They literally can't leave a single IP alone, whether it's Narnia,
museum.
Yes, that was perfect, Martin. Oh my gosh, that was very, very perfect. Lauren, I think anyone who didn't see the pro show last night is wondering your thoughts on this rebooting Indiana Jones. I know that you said rebooting it would be a disaster, but recasting might actually work.
Yeah, and understand that when I'm making this point, because this was brought up last night, I do not trust Disney or Lucasfilm to be doing this under their current configuration. But if their plan really is a reboot, you may as well forget it. It's dead on arrival. I don't think that can work, period. But if you're talking about going back and filling in some gaps, then I think that's maybe possible if you have the right people attached. And what I'm saying here is not replacing the young Indiana Jones with the from the Sean Patrick Flannery series. I'm talking about a younger Indiana Jones, which would be between Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. When they were talking about Chris Pratt a few years ago, I kind of liked that idea. But if you were going to do what I suggest and make it in between the movies, it doesn't work because you're not going to go from Harrison Ford to Chris Pratt to back to Harrison Ford. I think the only person that you can cast for this is Anthony N. Gruber. And I think if you did that, there's a chance the audience might go for it. Now, the other thing is I think people underestimate how tough a nut to crack an Indiana Jones script is. And a lot of that is because of the artifact. The key to Indiana Jones in a lot of ways, in my opinion, is that he does deal with supernatural, religious themed artifacts. And there's precious few of those that can actually work as a MacGuffin in a story. You also run into trouble if you go into a religion or a country that has got non-Anglo ethnicities. They got real gun shy after Temple of Doom, and that makes it difficult to go outside of the Judeo-Christian tradition as well. So that kind of limits the artifacts that you have. I think there are a couple that are potentially viable, but you've got to have somebody attached who really cares about this character, is willing to do their research and put the effort in, and not have interference from the studio. And you got to have somebody who can sell the Harrison Ford version of Indiana Jones. If you're going to reboot, don't do it. That's my advice.
How about a World War II movie starring Sean Patrick Flannery trying to hunt down Thor's hammer before the Nazis get it?
I think you're on my list now.
It was already on the list. Is there a second list?
There might be.
Kevin Apollo, you're a big indie fan. What's your thoughts on them potentially trying this again?
It's Disney. You might as well just step on some dog poop and call it a day. I laugh. It's like, don't reboot it. It's going to be just rejected. It's going to be rejected. Like just wholesale, top to bottom. You just don't do it. You either have to find a way to continue with a younger actor. I'm with Lauren. I was intrigued by the Chris Pratt thing. It'd be a little different than Harrison Ford, but Chris Pratt can butcher it up when he has to, and it just would have been interesting. Or you could have done something where we just kept it in the Jones family and moved on from Indy, but you chose to kill Mutt. Now, I'm not saying that would work. I'm just saying, sometimes Son of Tarzan can kind of buy you a couple extra miles while you try to figure out what to do next.
I do think that the other thing that is key to the character is Harrison is really good at doing physical comedy. He does the stunts, but he does the pratfalls too. I was saying last night, it's really in a lot of ways kind of a Buster Keaton kind of role. But you got to have somebody that can sell that has the physicality and is willing to do the stunts themselves. Studios don't really like doing that anymore. And so that's another thing that makes it dangerous. But if you could find somebody who could sell that, is willing to do it, can do the physical bits and get the comedy out of it, you're well on your way.
So who though? Who do we go with? Like Wyatt Russell, Sebastian Stan, one of these guys, or do we go Chris Pratt? I mean, that's what everyone throws out. Do we go back to Shia LaBeouf and keep it, like who's who would you all fantasy cast, I guess, for it? Like, who do you think they'd even go with? It's got to be someone in the Disney sphere, in my opinion, right? So like a Sebastian Stan, maybe?
For me, there's only three options. I think that for me, my personal casting would be Anthony N. Gruber, because he's already done Harrison younger, and boy, does he look and sound like him.
Yeah, he does.
Big time.
Did a great job in the game too.
My second one would be Chris Pratt. And my third, and I'm going to take some heat for this, we talked about this a little bit last night, is actually Alden Ehrenreich. I think that he could pull off a Harrison if he was allowed to play the character at the proper age and doing that performance, because I did see some of that in Solo. I think he was trying to do a slow burn with it, but there were a couple of scenes in that movie where suddenly my head whipped around, because for a second he was Harrison Ford, and he is a good actor. If you've seen him in
Hail Caesar?
I love Hail Caesar, and that's what I was going to bring up. I think I'd be willing to give him a shot at it, but I don't think he embodies Harrison the way Anthony N. Gruber does. That's why he would be my choice.
I like that. Anybody else want to weigh in? Nolan?
You can do some other stuff with Mutt. Just because, his parents think he's dead doesn't mean he's not, in fact, lost in North Vietnam somewhere.
Time frame's all wrong. That's part of what hurt the later indie movies, is that he's a product of the pulp era. He's the 30s and 40s.
Right.
I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but as soon as you get beyond that, it's like he doesn't work anymore. Indie in Vietnam, if that's what you're going to do with...
No, I'm talking about Mutt in Vietnam.
I know, but you're saying that he's taking over the mantle. We're talking about a mantle strategy.
That's true.
At that point, it doesn't work. It's not pulp anymore.
If we were doing a mantle strategy, I would rather see, and I don't think a mantle strategy is the way to go, but before Mutt, I would do Short Round. I would have Ke Huy Quan do it, because a movie where Short Round has become an archaeologist and, you know, like tries to like live up to Dr. Jones's legacy, like that's a movie I would watch.
Which would have made an intriguing fifth movie.
Well, because if you fill in the gaps like I'm saying, you could actually have another Indian Short Round team up during World War II when Short Round's older. You know, at this point, he was 9 years old in Temple of Doom. By the time of 1945, at the close of the war, he'd be 18. You know, so you could have something happen either during the war or just after with Indy and have them team up again. Obviously, it wouldn't be key, but you could do that. And I do think that's a loose thread that it would be nice to kind of see them return to. I'd like to see Short Round one more time.
You know, good makeup, and he could. I just returning to the Vietnam thing. I know, and you are right. He's a pulp character, but good makeup, and he could look young enough to do late Vietnam, saving Mutt, bringing him home for Indy.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't want it.
I get it.
I don't. I can't. I liked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I do not like Dial of Destiny. There are moments in it, but I don't like seeing an old, frail Indy. I don't like seeing an Indy devoid of hope. Now, that one scene where he's talking about the loss of Mutt, he sells that scene. He does, and I bought the emotion. But that's not what I want to see out of Indy. I want Indy in his prime doing what Indy does. And I am somewhat encouraged by Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I've told you guys, I hold it in the same esteem as the movies. And I think the reception to it actually surprised, I think, both Bethesda and Disney. And I think that may be why we're talking about this some more. I think they realized maybe there is still some fuel in this, but they haven't been approaching it the right way. They cannot continue to move forward. They've got to go.
They realized they hopefully learn a lesson. People want Indiana Jones. They don't want an old man and some bossy stork woman.
Yeah.
Lauren, have you seen Secret of the Incas?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. Now, actually, there were a couple that were in a similar vein that served as the inspiration. Is that the one that had
the jacket, the fedora, and Charlton Heston?
It had the costume, but there was another one that was also a Charlton Heston movie that also served as an inspiration. I think it was a different one. It was the one with the giant ants with
yes, that's a different one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it though. That's the one that I saw. I have not seen Secret of the Incas. I know that's where the costume came from, but I have not seen that one.
Well, and also kind of his almost charlatan swagger is from Heston as well.
Yep, and Indy is kind of the same thing, but also not. You know, this is part of why I love the character, is that he is a walking contradiction, and he is one of the. It's like Han Solo in the sense that he's a scoundrel, but not really. You know, it's Han rose above that. Indy almost wants to be a scoundrel, but there's a better person in him that won't allow him to be. And I love that. It's part of why I love Temple of Doom so much, is because you see that transition and what makes him make that transition. Temple of Doom has taken a lot of flack over the years, but it's an excellent movie. And there really is an arc to Indy. And he has way more depth than Han does. Han's my guy in Star Wars, but Indy is the character that I think is my favorite cinematic character of all time.
Yeah,
I think, by the way, The Naked Jungle is that other Charlton Heston movie.
That's the one. Yep.
Lauren, one day you're going to come out to Orlando and I got to take you to Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar over in Disney Springs, because I think you would be like a kid in a candy store there.
I would have a blast. I've seen pictures. I've looked at the menu. I'd love to go visit it someday.
You definitely have to. Anybody else want to add in on this, or should we move on to super chats and closing out the show? think we're going to super chats then. Chef Eddie for $2 says Shooty Gatwise, the new Indiana Jones.
Don't you put that out in the universe. This is Disney we're talking about.
John Williams for $4.99. You're on my list, Lauren, for thinking Sydney would be a good Cammy. Her talent matches Poison, but we all know why she wouldn't play Poison. Chef Eddie for $2 says Indiana Jones and the Highlander sword. That Black Bear for $2 says Indiana Jones and the Quest of Kevin's Garage. Sean, the artist formerly known as JC, for $1.99. Says, okay, Cynthia Erivo is Indiana Jones or going to see Highlander with Henry Cavill?
That would be the one possibility where I would go see Highlander.
the alternative was that if the casting of Indiana Jones as Cynthia Erivo rested on you sitting through the Highlander reboot with Henry Cavill. By the way, before we close off, I did want to say I just saw this one tweet. I need to look into the authenticity of it because my gosh, if it's true, but I don't doubt that it's true. Rachel Zegler says Pedro Pascal stood up from his seat after every number during her performance in Evita. Quote, he goes to bat for me in a way that I love so dearly. I love how much he loves me.
Oh yeah, did he lick a glow stick and rub his nipples while he did it too?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
He is so weird about her. Like he called her an icon and like, oh God, it's just weird. I mean, yes, we know Pedro Pascal is weird. That's not exactly late breaking news, but all right. Phil Marks, thank you very much for being here with us today, my friend. Tell the folks about your 2 channels and where they can find you.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me. If you guys enjoyed me and my terrible jokes on this show and you want to hear what I do mostly is talk about pro wrestling. So you can check me out at youtube.com/@ProWrestleClips. And I do a live show every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And I think it's hilarious. I think it's unlike any other live show that's out there, especially in the wrestling space, you know. And then I launched a new channel. It's youtube.com/@PhilMarksOut. And I do top 10 lists about like comic. I have a couple Superman videos. I review TV shows. And yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. So thanks for having me. Also, Marv, Kev, you two are the most requested guests that people want to come back on PWT. So you guys got to come back soon. I'll shoot you guys DMs, but
yeah, let me know and I'll make. I always love hanging out with you over there. Yeah. I always love being on any show where I don't have to like host and run the whole thing.
Yeah,
but I very much, Phil. When I first started in this gig, you were the first guy that reached out to me. You were the first guy that kind of helped prop me up. That is something I will never ever forget. You are always family here on the Tooney Town channels. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Martin Stone. Why don't you tell the folks where they can find more about you and what you are up to?
Well, today on T3PO, they released Somehow Airwolf Returned. It's a I take it Kevin saw that one. It's Knight Rider in the Sky, basically. And tomorrow on That Park Place, the channel, our member exclusive will be Somehow Supersonic Transport Returned. Because I have an absolute fascination with the jet age and going really fast.
Fantastic. All right, Nolan Thunder, where can folks find out more about you and what you're up to?
Well, you can find me on my YouTube channel at Nolan Thunder, where I talk about video game mysteries, urban legends, all sorts of internet mysteries. But I would like to take a chance to actually plug something a little different today. That Game Place, That Park Place gaming channel, where we cover all the gaming news. Last Saturday was actually our first episode at our new time slot. 2-hour stream. Our boy Kevin Apollo was there, and it was a good time. We talked about some crazy news, such as the Atari managing to beat ChatGPT at a game of chess. Yeah, those are the kind of weird stories we talk about, but it's a good time. We got wonderful people. We got Culture Casino up in there, and it's been fun covering the gaming topics. So if you want to see me ramble somehow to God even more about video games, please check us out. We're Saturdays at 8 o'clock p.m. And we also have normal uploads covering all the gaming news out there coming much more frequently. So if you're into Mario or Stellar Blade, please check us out.
Lauren Connor, you've got your own channel. You've also got a new late night show coming up. So why don't you tell the folks about that?
It's starting to become terrifying because we haven't done enough research and development ahead of time. I think we're just going to be winging it, but it will be coming up. I'm going to be relying on Kevin to make me look good because I'm going to be I'm going to be awkward and it's going to be probably a disaster. But we're going to try and entertain you. So show up.
That's right.
Trish, anything you got to promote or plug or?
I'm just, giving Floral under a rock some attention. I think he feels a little slighted by you.
Well, no, it's fine. Nobody on his actual channel gives him any attention. So,
me.
All right. Yes. Trish, you're all over. You the Lost Guys.
I'm me.
Yeah.
That says
you're
it
here.
all. I'm me.
Kevin Apollo, anything you got to plug? I know you got a channel coming out.
There got a channel coming out at some point in time, and then the Lauren and Apollo versus the world. And don't worry, brother, I got you. We're gonna wing. We're gonna Bill O'Reilly it. We're just gonna do it live. Don't worry about it.
He's gonna put Lauren under one arm and all the Apollo maniacs into the other arm and backstroke to safety.
That's right, brother. We're gonna drown them all.
I do want to talk to you after the show because I think we may want to modify our first one a little bit, but we'll talk about that behind the scenes.
All right, guys. And for me, just make sure you're checking out thatparkplace.com every single day, where we have got a slew of awesome stories coming at you. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Everyone who chatted, everyone who super chatted, everyone who just hung out and watched. From all of us here at the Tooney Town channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!
Now, Perry the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator!
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing. Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks for what?
Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.